Humanitarian coordinator Jamie McGoldrick told a news conference he believes the overall death toll is in excess of 10,000. With many areas turned into war zones, there aren't reliable records on casualties, and with millions displaced within the country and some 200,000 having fled abroad, it's often impossible to tell who was killed and who simply fled elsewhere. All these factors are likely to mean that we will never fully know the death toll of this war, but McGoldrick sees ample reason to believe it's on the high end, and with more than half of the population reliant on food aid, which is not always quick in being delivered, there's always a risk that the toll gets precipitously worse. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports as part of his Second Chance initiative, President Barack Obama on Tuesday commuted the prison sentences of more than 100 nonviolent drug offenders, setting a new monthly record. Obama announced the commutations of 111 more individuals, bringing the August total to 325. 35 of those who were granted relief Tuesday have been serving life sentences. The White House said in a statement, "We must remember that these are individuals who have taken steps towards rehabilitation and who have earned their second chance. They are individuals who received unduly harsh sentences under outdated laws for committing largely nonviolent drug crimes." The White House added in a tweet on Tuesday, Congress must act to enact a fairer federal sentencing system. The total number of commutations Obama has granted since taking office is 673, more than the past 10 presidents combined. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. Reuters reports in a landmark ruling for non-traditional families in New York State, the state's highest court on Tuesday held that a person need not have a biological or adoptive relationship with a child to be considered a parent. The decision by the New York Court of Appeals gives such individuals legal standing to seek custody or visitation rights. Judge Sheila Abdus-Salam wrote on behalf of 5 members of a 6-judge panel, "The state's earlier definition of parent has become unworkable given today's increasingly varied family relationships. According to the ruling, a person can claim parenthood by presenting clear and convincing evidence that the parties agreed to conceive a child and raise the child together. New York has been a laggard in expanding the definition of parenthood, as a majority of states have already recognized non-biological, non-adoptive parents. The ruling mainly affects unmarried couples with children, as married spouses with children are presumed to have parental rights. Tuesday's ruling arose from 2 cases involving same-sex couples. In one, a woman became pregnant through artificial insemination and, after the relationship deteriorated, cut off her former partner's contact with the child. The partner subsequently sought joint custody and visitation, but was turned down because she was not a biological or adoptive parent. The second case involved an unmarried same-sex couple who had a child before splitting up. The biological mother sought child support from her former partner. The court granted her request, but also allowed a visitation petition by the child's non-biological mother, ruling it would be inconsistent to consider the latter a parent, but only for purposes of paying child support. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A reclusive deity hasn't written a new book in 2,000 years, and a local rescue dog is adopted for a couple weeks. This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, in a devastating blow to the nation's laundry, 16,000 Americans were reportedly stained during the messiest day in U.S. history. Reports confirm that nearly 3,000 citizens received permanent stains on their good shirt from mustard splatter off a dropped hot dog, along with 12,000 cases of spilled coffee and other dark beverages ruining Americans' pair of hand-wash-only pants. Government officials further indicated that federal assistance for the nation's overwhelmed dry cleaners would be necessary. And in this week's local news, an elderly Rite Aid patron stretches out a conversation about toothpaste to prolong human contact. In other news, artifacts discovered buried in Washington, D.C. suggest humans once passed laws there. A self-centered child blames his parents' divorce entirely on himself. And a night of uninterrupted sleep really throws off a man's entire day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can join us here. The toll-free number that allows you to take control of the airwaves is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or you can Skype into the show. It's Skype username, LRN.FM. With you in studio tonight, Ian here.
And Mark.
And Darryl.
And, of course, you can bring up anything, and that is the point of Free Talk Live. But we always bring stuff to the table that we think you might find interesting. And, we've had a lot of calls over the last few days, several days, about Colin Kaepernick.
Yes.
Who is the 49ers star that...
Quarterback, yes. I had never heard of him up until a couple of days ago.
Me neither, but I don't pay attention to professional sports generally unless something hits the news like this, where he decided he was not going to stand for the Star-Spangled Banner.
Right, so I'm the resident sports guy.
You are, it's true.
He had been the starting quarterback for the last couple of years and recently lost that role. He's now the backup. Some are saying he might be the third-string quarterback, and some news reports are saying that he might actually wind up being cut.
Over this controversy.
Not over this controversy, over his not playing as well as he had been.
Well, last quarterback I remember was Joe Montana from the 49ers.
He's not played in a really, really long time.
But he was great. And
Probably one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
I'd say that it's clear that the fact that I didn't know his name means that Colin Kaepernick is not an A-list player, right? I didn't know his name, but I did know, again, I know some major football players' names, and that's about it.
Have you ever heard of Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I've heard the name, yeah.
Okay.
So now he's
an A-list player?
He's probably the best quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah. So, I can't say I'm plugged in at all now.
And I know you've heard of Tom Brady because we live in New England, and that's all they talk about on local sports. And I cannot stand local sports talk radio because it's all Boston all the time.
And there's the two guys, the two brothers that were quarterbacks. The one from the Colts and the other, I don't know.
The Mannings, Peyton and Eli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, he refused to stand for the national anthem, and when he explained why, this is according to TheIntercept.com, he only spoke about the present, saying, quote, "I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. There are bodies in the street, and people are getting paid leave and getting away with murder," unquote.
So he's referring to the police getting paid leave and getting away with murder.
That's correct. And he's right about that. The only thing is, the only minor quibble I have is that the police are killing all kinds of people, not just black people. They're killing people of all colors. They're killing human beings.
The argument to that would be that they're killing young black men at
more
a
often.
Larger rate.
No doubt.
But then again, young black men are charged with crimes at a larger rate. So you have to, the question is, are black people targeted by the police? Are they more likely to commit crimes, or are they, are they more likely to commit crimes, or are they targeted by the police? And I don't know the answer to that. I suspect it's some of both.
I would say both.
Because these things tend to create themselves.
Poor people are more likely to commit crimes,
sure,
and many blacks are more likely to be poor due to the economic situation here over many, hundreds of years of oppression of black people has sort of not made it easy for them. The government hasn't made it easy for black folks to create their own wealth for themselves by starting their own businesses. The government has licensing laws that make it difficult for anybody who's poor to get out there and kind of not have a job and actually go ahead and create some wealth for themselves.
Right, and I want to sort of pick a nit on something that you said, where you said poor people are more likely to commit a crime.
More likely to be caught.
I think poor people are more likely to be targeted by police for offenses. Whereas you've got a lot of rich people that they'll do stuff that, they can afford really good, smooth-talking lawyers to wind up getting all the charges dropped. They're committing different crimes.
Yeah. I guess I'm talking about more of your typical
petty theft,
robbery, things
so
like that.
So white-collar crimes tend to get significantly lower sentences than crimes that aren't considered white-collar crimes. And another thing is that if you get caught for stealing and you've got the money, chances are you're not going to have too much of a problem. You just pay the whatever it is, and then the problem goes away.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. People that are more well off, they can afford the attorneys to wind up making it all go away. People that aren't as well off, well, they wind up getting caught in this cycle and doing what is often referred to as life on the installment plan.
And I think there's also something to the claim that police are more likely to target blacks because of racism as well. I think there are racist cops out there.
Yeah.
And I think
there's racist everybody out there, right?
I think that they are absolutely likely to look more often at black people and suspect them and target them. So I think, like you said, Mark, I think it's all of the above. Anyway, Twitter went predictably nuts with at least one 49ers fan burning Kaepernick's jersey. Almost no one seems to be aware that even if the U.S. were a perfect country today, it would be bizarre to expect African-American players to stand for the Star-Spangled Banner. Why? Because it literally celebrates the murder of African-Americans. Now, they keep using the term African-Americans, but I think black people is more accurate because you can be African-American and be white, right? If you're from South Africa, you are an African-American, and you're likely not a black person.
Well, So I agree with you, but for different reasons. Not from where somebody's from, but because it's just from a linguistic standpoint, black is one syllable, easy to understand, and it's not insulting or anything like that. And I don't want it to slide into the area of being insulting. Yes, it has a hard K on the end, and I know that it can sound harsh to some people, but get over it. You're an adult. Whereas
that has a hard T at the end,
right?
That
adult.
sounds very, very offensive.
It's intended
harsh.
to be. If you can't handle the word adult, you're not one, right? That's what the intention here is. If you can't handle the word black, you're not an adult. You're not prepared for a conversation about race in the United States. So, and the other aspect is if you want to get grammatically correct, then you would say Americans of sub-Saharan African descent. Now, that would be very clear as to who we're talking about without having to say the term black, but it's like 9 syllables long. And this is what I consider to be the what politically correct speech, is that we just have to stretch everything out for certain classes of folks. But it's okay to say white. You wouldn't say an American of predominantly European descent. You wouldn't. No one would say that nonsense. So let's just go ahead and use the single syllable terms, and it'll be a lot easier.
I remember, a couple decades ago, I had a coworker that he was filling out an application. My dad happened to have been the manager where I worked. My dad tells the guy, "Hey, you didn't mark African American on the thing." He said, "I'm not African American. I'm from the Dominican Republic."
Okay, and so he considers himself to be
Dominican.
Right, or Hispanic. Right?
No, he considered himself Dominican.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a Spanish-speaking country, so he is by definition Hispanic.
Yeah. And then, like Jamaicans, they don't consider themselves African American. They consider themselves Jamaican.
Yeah, they're not American at all.
People from Trinidad consider themselves Trinidadian, not, American or South American or whatever.
It adds nothing to the African American. Adds nothing to the conversation.
I agree.
It's just tiptoeing on minefields.
Few people know that the Star-Spangled Banner celebrates the murder of blacks because we only ever sing the first verse. But read the end of the third verse, and you'll see why the Star-Spangled Banner is not just a musical atrocity; it's an intellectual and moral one too. Here are the lyrics. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave, and the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
It's amazing how somebody can write a stanza like that says, "Yea, we've got slaves and we'll kill them if they run. Home of the free, land of the brave." Yippee! I mean, it's amazing the dichotomy in this song, but Francis Scott Key, who wrote this, was a slave owner.
Surprise.
This is an anthem that celebrates the death and torture, among other things, of blacks.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE. Obviously, The Intercept has more to say here. This is a great website, by the way. It's Glenn, the one where Glenn Greenwald is working. It's Free Talk Live. More coming up.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Well, what do you know? Turns out the Star-Spangled Banner is actually a celebration of slavery,
among other things,
and also the killing slaves that run away. Apparently,
that's what it says.
So, yeah, apparently that's in the third verse. Which nobody ever actually sings, so most people probably aren't even aware of that fact.
Right. Most people also aren't aware of the fact that the final two lines of the first verse are a question, not a proclamation.
What's the question?
Does the flag still wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, since it was written during the War of 1812, it was really it was in question. The only reason the United States wasn't conquered was this giant hurricane blew through, Washington, D.C. Now, some would say it's the wind of God, or the gods, or whomever one says. It's Providence that blew the British away. But whatever the reason, the United States was established by its Constitution, 1789. 1812 wasn't that long after that. The
Correct.
British really still considered this a colony that just was, rebellious at that point.
Well, and the U.S. military trying to invade Canada certainly did not help the war.
Well,
the war was very avoidable, except that the United States tried to invade Canada.
Well, let's not forget that the British were conscribing Americans into their navy to fight their wars. I can see why a government would choose to go to war over protecting its citizens in that way. But as I understand, the practice was actually halted through diplomatic means, and then the United States decides to blame Canada, right?
Yes.
And one can understand those Canadians, right? But so it was a big mess. The United States thought it was going to whip Britain's ass again, and it didn't.
Yeah, and they also thought that they could take over Canada.
Yeah.
Liberland, by the way, is the European micronation. We'll tell you more about Colin Kaepernick here in moments and the Star-Spangled Banner. But the Liberland folks are trying to get recognized. They are attempting to have other countries in the world, in Europe and elsewhere, recognize their claim to nation status. And so far, 7 Polish legislators have proposed that recognition. The Chicago Journal of International Law has released a 35-page essay making the case for statehood for Liberland. But, of course, the Croatian government isn't going to make this easy. They do have quite a challenge ahead of them. Liberland is a 3-square-mile plot of land. It's a swamp, basically, between Croatia and Serbia. Liberland saying this land is terra nullius. This is not claimed by either Croatia or Serbia. However, the Croatian government has been arresting the folks from Liberland, so they've got a long road ahead of them. They are determined. They keep coming back. They keep going back to the plot of land, and they're fighting in the Croatian courts. You can get involved by going to liberland.org, Liberland, liberland.org. Over 100,000 people from around the globe have already requested citizenship, but in order to get citizenship from Liberland, you do have to substantially contribute to the growth of Liberland. Plus, a lot of big-name libertarians are behind it, like Roger Ver, the owner of Bitcoin.com. He stated his support and his financial support for Liberland. Go to learn more over at liberland.org. As we continue here, the Star-Spangled Banner, revealing the final verse over at theintercept.com. It says, "No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave." And what you were pointing out, Mark,
in some cases, he's just ignoring the fact that some slaves did escape, did it reasonably well, and got to Canada or the North or wherever. So he's saying, like, nothing can save the escaped slave here, which is obvious hyperbole because they escaped all the time.
The Star-Spangled Banner, Americans hazily remember, was written by Francis Scott Key about the Battle of Fort McHenry in Baltimore during the War of 1812. But we don't ever talk about how the War of 1812 was a war of aggression that began with an attempt by the U.S. to grab Canada from the British Empire. However, we'd widely overestimated the strength of the U.S. military. By the time of the Battle of Fort McHenry in 1814, the British had counterattacked and overrun Washington, D.C., setting fire to the White House.
Right. This is Madison's administration, and, Dolly had a big mess to clean up.
One of the key tactics behind the British military success was its active recruitment of American slaves. As a detailed 2014 article in Harper's explains,
it's true.
The orders given to the Royal Navy's Admiral Sir George Cockburn read as follows, quote,
What an unfortunate last name.
Yeah. Let the landings you make be more for the protection of the desertion of the black population than with a view to any other advantage. The great point to be attained is the cordial support of the black population. With them properly armed and backed with 20,000 British troops, Mr. Madison will be hurled from his throne.
Yeah.
Unquote. Whole families found their way to the ships of the British, who accepted everyone and pledged no one would be given back to their owners. Adult men were trained to create a regiment called the Colonial Marines, who participated in many of the most important battles, including the August 1814 raid on Washington. Then on the night of September 13th, 1814, the British bombarded Fort McHenry. Key, seeing the fort's flag the next morning, was inspired to write the lyrics for the Star-Spangled Banner. So when Key penned that, quote, no refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave, he was taking great satisfaction in the death of slaves who had freed themselves. His perspective may have been affected by the fact that he owned several slaves himself.
One might think.
With that in mind, think about the next two lines, quote, and the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, unquote. The reality is that there were human beings fighting for freedom with incredible bravery during the War of 1812. However, the Star-Spangled Banner glorifies America's triumph over them and then turns that reality completely upside down, transforming their killers into the courageous freedom fighters. After the U.S. and the British signed a peace treaty at the end of 1814, the U.S. government demanded the return of the American property, which by that point numbered about 6,000 people, and the British refused. Most of the 6,000 eventually settled in Canada, with some going to Trinidad, where their descendants are still known as Americans. Furthermore,
that's spelled Merikins.
That's correct.
Not American, that's apostrophe Murica.
Thank you for that clarification. Furthermore, if those leading the backlash against Kaepernick need more inspiration, they can get it from Francis Scott Key's later life. By 1833, Key was a district attorney for Washington, D.C., as described in a book called Snowstorm in August by former Washington Post reporter Jefferson Morley. The police were notorious thieves, frequently stealing free blacks' possessions with impunity.
Yeah.
That sounds like today.
Well,
yeah.
I don't think the police are generally doing it today. Now it's the police departments that have been doing it.
Subtle distinction there, Mark.
That there are police officers that are making the confiscations.
Yeah, and you're talking about civil asset forfeiture, these sorts of things.
Sure. Or just cops stealing things. I mean, it's not just legally that they steal things. That's what civil asset forfeiture is, a legal stealing. But there's also the cops who will just take your marijuana and will take your money. So if they
I'll just take this and not file paperwork because I hate paperwork.
We got a drug bust here. We found 100 pounds of marijuana and $100,000, but on the paperwork only 50 pounds and 50,000 show up. Well, where'd the other 50,000 go? Into the pockets of the police. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Don't think it happens?
Big pockets.
It certainly happens. 855-450-3733. More coming up on Free Talk Live.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit, did your nerves spike? You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight, Ian here.
And Mark.
And Darryl.
Bitcoin.com is your premier source for everything Bitcoin related. You can get help buying Bitcoins, choosing a Bitcoin wallet, read the latest news, or engage with the community on the Bitcoin forum. You can find places to spend your Bitcoin, play online games with the cryptocurrency, and more. It's the source for all your Bitcoin needs and news. Bitcoin.com. As we continue here, the story from TheIntercept.com about Colin Kaepernick says that he's more right than you even probably were aware. Turns out the national...
And he's aware, too, is what it says. And who knows what he was aware of and what he wasn't. I certainly could not have quoted the third verse of the Star-Spangled Banner to anyone. I know we sang it at one point or another in grade school all the way through, but... I mean, you know, this is a long song that is difficult as far as verbiage goes. It's adapted from a British drinking song. So for those of you who are big Star-Spangled Banner fans...
Meaning they borrowed the tune.
Borrowed the tune. Well, by today's standards, they stole it. Right. This is called intellectual property today. If you go and find a pop song and write something, some popular patriotic lyrics to that pop song,
you're getting sued.
You're going to get sued.
Right. Unless you call it fair use and you're sampling.
Even that has gotten people in trouble. No, I don't know if there's a specific limit on that.
This is not legal advice.
Right. Yeah. Even that has gotten people in trouble. Didn't Vanilla Ice get in trouble for sampling Queen? Yeah.
But I believe he wound up prevailing because there was like a slight difference in the middle of it. He had like an extra ding in there.
I don't. We'll have to check that one because I'm not sure.
I will go ahead and check that in.
I believe he said that his was Ding 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 ding. Right. Ding 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 ding.
I heard the quote, but I believe the jury found otherwise. That's but I'm going to check it out.
Check that one out. And I think Vanilla Ice's you have to get rid of Vanilla Ice's real name too, because it's like
Robert
Van Winkle or something like that.
Robert Van Winkle.
Right. like Rip Van Winkle. Anyway, back to the story here from theintercept.com, talking about the history behind the song. Francis Scott Key in his later life. He was a district attorney in Washington, D.C. later on in life by 1833. And in a book called Snowstorm in August by a former Washington Post reporter, the police were notorious thieves, frequently stealing free blacks' possessions with impunity. One night, one of the constables tried to attack a woman who escaped and ran away until she fell off a bridge across the Potomac and drowned. The abolitionist paper at the time wrote, quote, "There is neither mercy nor justice for colored people in this district. No fuss or stir was made about it. She was got out of the river and was buried, and there the matter ended," unquote. Key was furious and indicted the newspaper for intending to, quote, "injure, oppress, aggrieve, and vilify the good name, fame, credit, and reputation of the magistrates and constables of Washington County." So all of this just sounds, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Yeah, now we've got video cameras. Now we can actually see the abuse of the police writ large. We know how more often how it happens and the details and how ugly it truly is, rather than having to rely on eyewitness testimony and what someone happened to write down, what they remembered, as you would have had to back in the mid-1800s.
Or even for the most part, the mid-1900s.
Right. Right. I'm just talking about what the time frame of this story here.
Right, but I'm just saying, it's been within our lifetime that, basically everybody now carries around a camera.
Correct. But yet still, you still have the defenders of the police. Some would call them copsuckers, people who, to them, the police can do no wrong, that there's always an excuse for the violence that they commit unnecessarily on other human beings.
Well, sure, you've got it on video, but you don't know what happened 5 minutes before that.
Right.
Sure.
Well, the video starts with the cop walking up to the guy. Right, but you don't know what happened before that. You don't know what happened last week. Maybe this guy showed up to the cop's house and did a ding-dong ditch. And now the cop's just, trying to get retribution, because you don't do that. You don't give a ding-dong ditch to a cop.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're being
do
a little bit...
people even do that anymore?
I'm sure kids do. Kids got to do that, sure.
Well, it sounds like a really boring thing to do. Somebody does it, but yeah.
So there you go. That's pretty much the story from theintercept.com, really kind of showing the parallels between the 1800s and today. Police abusing black people back then and still today. But again, police are abusing, anyone they can get away with, basically. And even with their own
not
video
every
cameras.
Police officer is doing abusing somebody every opportunity. But what this says to me is that there's a lot of people very upset about Kaepernick's behavior, not standing up for their favorite song and not liking their favorite colors, or whatever it is. And I think that this sort of legitimizes further. If you don't like his reasons, at least you might understand why somebody else might choose to do it. That the very song that you want people to stand up for in reverence to is in fact a song extolling the killing of slaves, presumably most of which were black at the time. You're talking about the War of 1812. Not a lot of indentured servitude going on in American history at that point. So, it adds a lot of understanding to the situation that I didn't have prior to this. Now, I supported him, sitting for whatever song he wants to sit for. I think that that's his right, and I get why he might choose to do that. I also understand why some people might be upset. But I would challenge those folks. When we read this story about the War of 1812, we understand the United States' actions that led up to it. Many times that's what we're fed regarding every war. And people will tell you that you stand up for the pledge, you stand up for the anthem in reverence to the people who've died for this country. Well, what you need to understand is many times those people died in vain. The people who died in the War of 1812
were trying to keep slaves.
Well, among other things, were trying to invade Canada. Died for a war that didn't need to exist in the first place. World War II, the great war that everybody holds up, didn't need to happen if the United States hadn't gotten involved in World War I.
True.
It wouldn't have occurred, at least not the European theater.
But the claim is also that, these men died fighting for your freedom. That includes the freedom to sit your ass down when somebody plays a song that you don't want to stand for.
My favorite, there have been some really poignant memes made out of this whole thing, and I think the favorite one that I've seen is where on one panel you got, I forget what was in the background, but basically the idea of immigrants leaving some other country to come to the United States. And then you got the America lover saying, well, damn it, if you don't like things over there, you need to stay and fight. You don't need to come over here. And then the other panel is, the Colin Kaepernick thing, and then the Americans saying,
if you don't love it, leave.
Right. So, which way is it?
And the story that you read from The Intercept cited at least one fan that burned a jersey.
Yeah.
That individual uses the name Nate3914 and gave a message to Colin Kaepernick. He says, if you don't love our country, get the bleep out of it. You should never play another down in the NFL. Move to Canada.
How ironic.
Yeah, so the whole thing of if you don't like it here, leave.
Right.
If you think that things are bad here and need to change, go somewhere else. Well, isn't Donald Trump saying things are bad here and they need to change? Like
so
that's
leave?
another one of the memes that I've seen to where
that's a good one.
A picture of Donald Trump. America's not great.
Well,
crowd.
yeah.
Yay!
Right.
Well,
Colin Kaepernick. America's not great.
Boo. This is funny, but when Trump says to make America great again, the presumption is that America is not great now.
Right.
So, and this is what Colin Kaepernick is saying. It's just that he's saying it sort of differently about a different issue with which people disagree.
Right. He's not waving the flag and saying it, so all of a sudden it's offensive when he does it.
Right, and there was somebody I forget exactly what they said. It was very lengthy, but it boiled down to Colin Kaepernick protested in a way that I don't like, so therefore it's wrong.
Yeah, and another one that I thought was good. I didn't like some of the phrasing to it, but it was basically white people saying, "Black people, stop being so loud and noisy when you protest."
Not like that.
Yeah, and then the black people, then Colin
shows him
Kaepernick
sitting down.
sits him down quietly.
The quietest possible
And then
protest.
the white people are like, not like that.
Right.
And now I would point out that this is a generalization. Not every white person said this, and that just sort of furthers the whole racist thing.
855, 450 free. Join us.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson. Like 60% of you, I'm not impressed by the two-party system. It's a dinosaur. It's outmoded and no longer reflects today's America. Two-party politics doesn't work, and it hasn't worked for anybody but itself in decades. If we the people are wise, we will never again elect another president from within the entrenched, corrupt, co-opted two-party system. The office of president should serve the needs of everyone equally with respect and with fairness. I did it as governor, I'll do it as president. Google me. 60% of you have said you want another choice in 2016, and now you have one in me. We the people have a chance to do something in 2016 that may not come around again in our lifetimes. We have a legitimate chance to elect one of our own to the highest office in the land. Give me your vote one time and see what a difference one election can make.
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business. So make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu 641-793-9660.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is $2 lower at $1,310 per ounce. Silver is 8 cents higher at $18.74 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $571 US. Silver is at its lowest price in 2 months, making for a great opportunity to buy more. Give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Take control of the airwaves at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Skype username is LRN.FM. If you enjoy Free Talk Live and you want to help support the show, then get your shopping done with us. The way you do that is go to shop.freetalklive.com. You'll find links there for various different things, including Amazon. There's Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, and Amazon US. You just go into whichever one of those links is right for you, get your shopping taken care of, and Free Talk Live benefits because we get a cut of the sale. So start your shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. Darryl, I know you want to talk about protesting a little bit here.
Yes.
We'll get into that, but first let's go to the phones to the fun. Rudy is on the line listening to K-Talks in Arizona. Hello, Rudy.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
You're talking about how somebody said that, well, like America, get the hell out. I've been listening to this crap since I was 6. I was getting to go into the draft to go to Vietnam, and it was love it or leave it. And just, who the hell are you? This is my country. I was born here. I'm not going to read it because you don't like my opinion.
Right. I mean, if you love it, why not try to change it so it can be better?
And why does some group of people or somebody think that they're the right, they're the ultimate right, correct thought, and mine nothing? Which, we all understand that everybody has an opinion, but some people want to just make yours go away.
Yep. So it's really sort of dichotomous. The reason that this is the case, Rudy, is because, well, the United States is a nation, and nationalism the more extreme your nationalism, the more you love your nation. That would seem like the more in the area of conversation around a nation, the more right you are. But the problem is the United States is a nation that was born out of a revolution. It was a nation that was born out of disrespecting the previous nation. So I would say that protest, since essentially that's what the founding fathers did, they disliked their government so much they were willing to shoot the officials in the face. They, tortured and strung up, killed the officials from their government to the point, and then created another one. Obviously, this is a little weird, but protest is at the very core of this nation, and freedom, which is what everybody says, the freedom to protest your nation is at the very core of the central beliefs of Americanism, as it were. So I'd say Kaepernick is the real patriot here.
Yeah, and to quote H. Brown, violence in America is as American as cherry pie in America.
Rudy, thanks for calling to share your thoughts.
I got one more thing about the police.
Yep.
My wife, her father was a Chicago police officer.
Okay.
And he was from Naples. There was a whole clique of people from Naples that ended up in Chicago.
Okay.
And he was the person that got on the police department. Straight, no problems with the law. And so he was the guy that had the 4 strip clubs in his name because he was legal. He was a good guy. He was a cop. And he was on the police department so long that they kept wanting to promote him and take him out of the patrol car and put him, someplace. And he said, no way in hell. I can't make any money that way. Every day before he got his uniform on, he'd pick up his badge and pin it on his shirt and say, "This is my license to steal." Because many people would, you get pulled over or you get caught in something, and you get a $20 bill with your license, and that was just.
So he was taking bribes as a beat cop, street cop.
Well, Chicago isn't known for its upstanding law enforcement.
Rudy, thanks for sharing the thoughts and your call tonight. I appreciate it, sir. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Americans hate protesters.
People hate protesters. I mean, it's just sort of human nature. We've read the studies. People just hate protesters.
I think the only time I've ever been involved in a protest where I did not hear at least one person yell something negative would be tax day protest, because people the one thing that people hate more than protest are taxes.
Yeah.
But every other time I've been involved in any kind of protest, there's always somebody that says, "This is not the time or the place.
Get a job."
Right. So
where is the time and the place?
Yeah, that's funny. So
wherever not around them.
Free Talk Live often takes heat when we do, stories on Veterans Day about, I don't know, poor young men having their lives thrown away in war and that sort of thing. And that's when people will call radio stations. They don't call here. They don't call the show and do it
because they're cowards.
I guess that's the term. That's what I'm going to say. But somebody who doesn't call, who has an opinion, an Open Lines current events radio program that has open lines right now. You can call in and give your opinion.
Yep.
You're not going to be waiting on the line for 15 minutes or whatever.
Nope.
You call in and give your opinion that, if you're going to call in to the program director the next day and tell them, "I don't like what they were saying," you're a coward.
Well, right, and that's because they want to. They don't want to confront what you have to say.
Right. Okay, they don't address the point. They want to make an entirely different point.
Well, no, but they also want to get you fired. They want to get you taken off the air.
Yeah.
They want you shut down. That's why they go to the higher ups. That's why they go to the program.
That's what liberals do, and the conservatives then go do the same thing. It's a boycott.
We do have the listen line where they could call and leave us a voicemail that way.
Sure, and then they wouldn't. Then
they don't have to confront us directly. They can give us their opinion. We might listen to it depending on how long the voicemail is.
But then we get to respond without them getting to respond back, and you don't actually have a conversation with the people leaving voicemail.
Right, but when somebody's calling the program director saying, Ian's a poopy head, we're not getting to respond directly anyway.
That's true.
Well, that's what the goal is.
Yeah. So getting back to the Kaepernick thing real quick, a lot of people thought that he was going to, wind up giving some sort of mea culpa. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. He actually said, I'll continue to sit.
Good.
And I honestly believe that, the only thing more American that he could have done was eaten a hot dog and an apple pie while playing a baseball game with a flock of bald eagles. Like, that's the only thing more American than protest.
Yeah, well, it is important. I mean, we do supposedly have freedom of speech here. And freedom of speech you need to have to protect unpopular speech.
Yes.
It's pretty clear that what he has done here is, or at the very least, seems unpopular. I would like to, I wonder if any polling has been done about this. To ask Americans, what do you actually think about this?
I will take a look.
The noisy people dislike it.
Correct.
I will take a look to see if I can find any polling numbers on this. But I had actually written my weekly commentary on this, and I just want to read part of the final paragraph.
Sure.
From an early age, we're told that we have the right to peacefully protest and that governments exist with the consent of the governed. Colin Kaepernick decided to exercise his right of peaceful protest to express his dissent with the lack of accountability for the hundreds of people killed by police every year.
That's right.
He later told NFL media, I'm not looking for approval. I have to stand up for people that are oppressed. If they take football away, if they take my endorsements away, I know I stood up for what is right.
Good for him. There's always a price to pay when you go against the grain.
Yeah, and I may not agree entirely with his points. I don't agree entirely.
No, apparently he was wearing a Fidel Castro shirt recently.
Yeah, I don't agree with this guy. I just believe that, hey, if we're going to fire this guy, let's fire him because he's mediocre to crappy quarterback, not because of his opinion. I mean, and everybody just loses their mind over this song, okay? Oh my God, the dead soldiers! Look, hold on, let's keep our heads about us. There's dead soldiers from all kinds of nations. Why are the dead soldiers for this nation so important? Because of freedom.
America.
Well, but freedom isn't what America's about anymore. The United States has slipped down the world's freedom charts according to the Heritage Foundation, the Fraser Institute.
You got people cheering for, building walls. Obviously, freedom is not popular.
And
in the
it
US.
wasn't 30 years ago that crazy old Ronald Reagan said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Right. So, it's the Patriots have their craniums so far up their rectums that they don't know which end is up. They can't tell patriotism from they just don't know anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's right. They don't really know anything. They're just kind of parroting things that they've heard. These phrases about love it or leave it, and it's all very emotional, and there's no real thinking behind any of this.
Yeah.
It's just, I've been offended. How dare you? I have the freedom to not be offended in this country, sir.
Right. Drive your Japanese car, watch your Chinese TV, and salute the American flag made in Beijing. You nationalist. I mean, it's just so silly.
Yeah, the toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll tell you about a country rap artist coming up here in moments who's been bothering people in the streets. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com. The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, August 31st, 2016. Silver is trading at $18.71 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,315 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $579. Antiwar.com reports death tolls in the Saudi invasion of Yemen have been tough to come by, in no small part because much of the country has been a no-go area in the course of the reckless Saudi air campaign. Food shortages, medical shortages, destroyed hospitals, and hasty burials have conspired with mass internal displacement to make tracking casualties all but impossible. But just a week after the UN Human Rights Office reported 3,799 civilians killed over the course of the war, the UN humanitarian coordinator, Jamie McGoldrick, told a news conference he believes the overall death toll is in excess of 10,000. With many areas turned into war zones, there aren't reliable records on casualties, and with millions displaced within the country and some 200,000 having fled abroad, it's often impossible to tell who was killed and who simply fled elsewhere. All these factors are likely to mean that we will never fully know the death toll of this war, but McGoldrick sees ample reason to believe it's on the high end, and with more than half of the population reliant on food aid, which is not always quick in being delivered, there's always a risk that the toll gets precipitously worse. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports as part of his Second Chance initiative, President Barack Obama on Tuesday commuted the prison sentences of more than 100 nonviolent drug offenders, setting a new monthly record. Obama announced the commutations of 111 more individuals, bringing the August total to 325. 35 of those who were granted relief Tuesday have been serving life sentences. The White House said in a statement, "We must remember that these are individuals who have taken steps towards rehabilitation and who have earned their second chance. They are individuals who received unduly harsh sentences under outdated laws for committing largely nonviolent drug crimes." The White House added in a tweet on Tuesday, Congress must act to enact a fairer federal sentencing system. The total number of commutations Obama has granted since taking office is 673, more than the past 10 presidents combined. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. Reuters reports in a landmark ruling for non-traditional families in New York State, the state's highest court on Tuesday held that a person need not have a biological or adoptive relationship with a child to be considered a parent. The decision by the New York Court of Appeals gives such individuals legal standing to seek custody or visitation rights. Judge Sheila Abdus-Salam wrote on behalf of 5 members of a 6-judge panel, the state's earlier definition of parent has become unworkable given today's increasingly varied family relationships. According to the ruling, a person can claim parenthood by presenting clear and convincing evidence that the parties agreed to conceive a child and raise the child together. New York has been a laggard in expanding the definition of parenthood, as a majority of states have already recognized non-biological, non-adoptive parents. The ruling mainly affects unmarried couples with children, as married spouses with children are presumed to have parental rights. Tuesday's ruling arose from two cases involving same-sex couples. In one, a woman became pregnant through artificial insemination and, after the relationship deteriorated, cut off her former partner's contact with the child. The partner subsequently sought joint custody and visitation, but was turned down because she was not a biological or adoptive parent. The second case involved an unmarried same-sex couple who had a child before splitting up. The biological mother sought child support from her former partner. The court granted her request, but also allowed a visitation petition by the child's non-biological mother, ruling it would be inconsistent to consider the latter a parent, but only for purposes of paying child support. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Studies show that more and more teenagers are leaving Facebook, but where are they going instead? Apparently, to the hottest new social media site in years, the comment section of this YouTube video of a deer running in slow motion. Already, its comment section is seeing over 30 million active users. Facebook isn't giving up so easily, incorporating images and videos of deer, elk, reindeer, and even moose into their layout. But teens say that misses the point entirely. In fact, the site's one unwritten rule: don't post anything about the video itself. Teens say that's not cool. But with more and more people swapping over to the comments section of the slow motion deer video by the day, some trend watchers warn it may begin going the way of Facebook.
I was obsessed with it for a while, but now it's just boring. I'm probably going to switch over to Happy Fast Kitchen.
While we don't know for sure, we believe Happy Fast Kitchen might refer to the Yelp page for a Chinese food restaurant in Cleveland, the new social media site where musician Skrillex recently dropped his latest album.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, dial toll free to join us here. The number's 855-450-FREE. We're talking about Americans being offended. They're offended by that football star who just quietly sat.
Not all Americans.
No. Obviously, I'm not talking about all Americans. We're talking about the ones who are offended. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, because we're not offended. I may not agree with the guy's politics, because apparently he likes Fidel Castro or something like that. At least that's according to a shirt that he recently wore. We're talking about Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback for the 49ers, stirred up quite a bit of controversy recently by not standing for the national anthem, and he is saying he will continue to not stand for said anthem.
And I said that I would try to find some polling numbers.
And you did.
And I did. They're not scientific.
Okay, so take it with a grain of salt.
Take it with a grain of salt, but I have 3 polls from 3 different outlets.
All right, very good. And also, just to bring you up to speed, if you're just tuning in, we did discuss from The Intercept last hour the actual lyrics of the Star-Spangled Banner, which apparently in the third verse celebrate the death of slaves. Celebrating slavery, basically. Pretty disturbing stuff.
Well, some people would say that that's okay because the slaves were less than human.
And it was legal, so hey, what's the problem? Anyway, let's get into your polling numbers, and then we'll get right into your calls and thoughts here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
So let's start with the simplest. Comes from the Denver Post on their website. Do you support Colin Kaepernick's refusal to stand for the national anthem before games? Yes or no?
Say it one more time. Do I support
Colin Kaepernick's refusal to stand for the national anthem before games?
Yes, all right. And I would sit with him.
27.3% said yes. The remaining 72.7% said no.
Okay.
That was out of about 5,000 votes. And again, non-scientific because anybody can go and vote. So, this could be...
Hey, look, the communists are taking over this poll. Come and vote.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The second poll that I have, a little bit more diverse in the responses that they give. But again, same question. It might have been worded slightly different. But the answer options are, I'm not sure, that has 0.86%.
So people are pretty decided on this poll.
Yes. 4.8% said, who cares? It'll all blow over before the first regular season game.
Okay.
16.6% say, I respect his right to express himself. And the remaining 77.7% say it's disrespectful and an insult to all those who have defended our freedoms, including the freedom to remain seated during the national anthem.
And the freedom during the War of 1812, like Francis Scott Key, to own slaves.
And the final poll that I have is from ESPN.
Okay.
And they give 4 options for the question, what do you make of Colin Kaepernick's decision to sit during the national anthem? Options are, I disagree and he should stand. I agree, but he should still stand. I disagree with his reasons, but he does not need to stand. Or I disagree, or rather, I agree with his reasons and he doesn't need to stand.
Okay.
So 2 different I disagree with his reasons options. 46% of the respondents on the ESPN poll disagree with the reason and say that he should stand.
Okay. He's wrong. He should stand.
Yes. 24% say he's right but should stand.
He's sick. He's right but should stand out of respect.
So 70% say he should stand up.
Yep.
10% of those that say he can sit down disagree with his reasons, but still they're okay with him sitting. And the other 20% agree with his reasons and believe that he has the right to.
It's about 30% that appear to be. It's about 30-70 on this poll.
On about all three of those
and
polls.
I'll bet you, I don't listen to sports talk radio. I could find, if I get sent to hell, what they will play on the loudspeaker in my section is sports talk radio. I mean, I find this stuff to be utterly boring.
Darryl loves it.
The rehashing of the same crap over and over again. I know I'm really just bugging Darryl.
And the ESPN poll, by the way, has about 180,000 people that have voted.
Yeah. Okay, that's
so
pretty big.
Lot larger sampling than the 1,000 from LehighValleyLive.com and the 5,000 from the Denver Post.
Yeah, I don't know why you read the other 2.
No, but it's interesting to give a cross sampling of here's from 3 different outlets.
So
I think that was useful. Thank you.
I don't listen to sports talk radio, but I'll bet you that the vast majority of talk show hosts out there right now are going after his record as a quarterback. Like they're saying, why the hell do we have this guy anyway? They're immediate. They're not. There's lots of mediocre quarterbacks running second or third string in the in the NFL, but right now Kaepernick is the one that they want to get fired because, well, honestly, it's because he'd sat through the Star-Spangled Banner. But they're like, look at this, and he dropped the ball here at such and such a time, and now he's not even the opener quarterback. This is ridiculous.
You could probably go back a year where they were praising him, though. I would bet as well.
I don't know. This is Joe Money's position, and you're giving it up to this guy? Come on. I can practically do this job.
I think a lot of it has to do with whether or not you're listening to, like a Homer station to where, it's the hometown station.
Yeah.
Right. So, obviously the stations in San Francisco that are dedicated to San Francisco sports are going to try talking up whoever the starting quarterback is, Blaine Gabbert, I think. Whereas the national talk shows, they're more likely to, sort of give sort of a passing glance of, maybe he should be cut because he's injury prone and this and that.
We've got Angry American calling from Washington, D.C. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello there.
You non-patriotic haters of self and the flag and the American way, and on top of it, the police and the military. How dare you?
There you go.
How dare you?
Is this Tom in Baltimore?
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, did you know a hate crime is an offense that indicates the perpetrator had a bias of any type, even if it just indicates it? If the cop says, hey, you know what? He said something in the past against women, or she says something against men, sexual orientation, ethnicity, race, anything that they could subdivide into a specific group. And you don't get double jeopardy with it. Isn't that kind of scary?
And then sometimes
you don't get double jeopardy.
I thought hate crimes were illegal in the United States, so there you go. I thought
right,
it was
it's illegal to commit a hate crime.
No, I thought that it was there was no such thing. I thought that it was struck down by the Supreme Court. This is ridiculous.
I don't think it was struck down by the Supreme Court,
All right.
but in some cases, the offender doesn't even have to say, I did this because the person fit this minority group. It could just be that the person that was the victim happened to belong to a minority group, so they charge them anyway, and then it's up to the person to say, no, I didn't rob the guy because he was black. I robbed the guy because he had money.
Yes, you're right. And listen, my paperwork goes back to 2009, so I don't know. He could be right about it being struck down because it should be. Listen, this is how crazy it is. They could say, those guys, they were taught, that's why I did that thing with the flag. They could say, if you were convicted, and it applies to any crime whatsoever, they could say, you know what, they were talking bad about the flag, and they sounded like they didn't like Americans, they didn't like this or that. And they could just, the probable cause is a low bar, and they could charge you with it. And the double jeopardy thing is this. They could charge you at the state level, fail, and charge you again at the federal level, or convict you at the state level and charge you again at the federal level. That's how crazy it was.
The one thing that America has that it can really say that they're very good at, they're in the top quintile of nations in the world, is the ability to complain. You can complain about your government in the United States with relative impunity. We've been doing it for 14 years here on Free Talk Live. Also, it's probably a pretty good place to make money. Those two things are really great things about this country, but it's getting less free, not more free over time.
Thanks, Tom, for your call, man. I appreciate it. Let's continue with your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, or Skype in at username LRN.FM. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson. I'll be on the ballot for president in all 50 states. If a Democrat is elected president, if a Republican is elected president, in 4 years, we will still be at war. America will be 4 years deeper in debt. We will have 4 more years of rising taxes, bigger government, crony capitalism instead of free markets, and less freedom. How do we know this? Because that's what both parties keep delivering. If you're an optimist, you know that one day America will have its act together. One day we won't be at war. One day taxes will be fair. One day our social and economic challenges will be conquered, not by force, but by cooperation and mutual respect. To the independent majority of Americans who feel as I do, I say, why wait one more day?
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
Are you happy washing your hands with harsh chemicals? Are you happy doing laundry with detergents? Are you happy paying high prices? Find your happiness with Pure Soap. These all-natural, earth-friendly Pure Soaps are the very best you've ever used. Buy in bulk. Get a 12, 36, or 48-month supply, or get items individually and still save big. You're getting soap products twice as good as what you're using now, earth-friendly and natural soaps. Your family deserves the best. Happiness is 5starsoap.com. Why not put your money up the drain for a change? See them at 5starsoap.com or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog. Cal Ben Soap Company can save you thousands of dollars and give you good old-fashioned real soaps that are triple concentrated. Soaps made from vegetable and coconut oils. See their full selection of soaps at 5starsoap.com. That's F-I-V-E starsoap.com. Or call 1-800-340-7091 for a catalog.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. We invite you to join us on the radio, where you can bring up anything you want. It doesn't have to be about Colin Kaepernick or the Star-Spangled Banner, police abuse, whatever it is we've been discussing so far tonight. Ridiculous Americans not understanding the right to protest, not supporting it, wanting everybody to think the same way. If you don't think like us, you need to leave. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Skype username is LRN.FM. With you in studio tonight, Ian here.
And Mark.
And Darryl.
You know, if you've got Bitcoin, I want you to download the official wallet of Free Talk Live. It's called Jax. You got a lot of wallet choices out there, but Jax allows you to hold not just Bitcoin, but also Ether as well as Dash. And, as I understand it, there are more currencies coming soon to Jax. There's Shapeshift integration built right in, which means you can easily move from one crypto to another. So if you want to change from your Bitcoin into Ether, you can do that. You don't even have to leave your wallet. Very, very handy software, and of course, it's free. So why not go get it at jaxx.io or your favorite Google or Apple App Store. It's super easy, by the way, to back up your wallet and recover your funds. So if you lose your phone, as long as you've done the backup, not a problem. You can get your Bitcoin back. And it was created by Free Talk Live listener and Chief Digital Officer of the Toronto Stock Exchange. His name is Anthony Diorio. It is Jax, and it's striving to give you command over your digital life. Coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. Your digital command center in the palm of your hand. It's Jax, the official wallet of Free Talk Live. JAXX.io. To the phones, to the fun. We talked to Ken in Arizona, listening to K-Talks. Hello, Ken.
Hey, about time, man.
Welcome, sir.
Hey, this is some pretty wild stuff I want to tell you here. Okay. You guys are talking about freedoms and discriminations and this. You know, I mean, no matter what, you know, I've been discriminated more than just this week than anybody in the world, black or anything. I'm a white Caucasian man, whatever, white, that's a double thing. But what I want to tell you is I was out training for CrossFit the other day, and I get hit by a garbage truck, and I called the Mojave County Sheriff's Department to come out and pursue it because the garbage truck driver ran. The first thing up the driveway, the sheriff's deputy says to me, well, you know, there's nothing we can do for you because you're blind and you can't witness a crime. And upon my follow-up, they come out and they had the decision to tell me that I had to stay off the streets where I would be cited and arrested, and also that I had to stay in the house because I'm blind.
Wow.
Now, the real kicker about this is, you know, a couple years back or so, you know, I was in Marine Corps infantry, you know, and I thought being born an American citizen did the trick. So, but I didn't, you know, just to reinforce it, you know, I went over to Beirut, Lebanon, and decided, you know, I'd serve to guarantee it. And now that I'm blind and, you know, getting older, this is where I'm at now. And then today, I talked to the state senator, I forget her name, and she says that she'll have the new sheriff that was just elected call me immediately. Well, anyway, that didn't transpire, and it's what I've been running into the whole time. So nobody knows what having your freedom stripped means to fighting, being in the military.
How did you
in
go
combat.
blind? Was it while you were in the military? Something happened?
No, it was later.
And how do you know it was a garbage truck that hit you?
Okay, now you guys talk pretty openly, right?
Think so.
Okay, right?
It stunk.
You know how ignorant that just sounded?
Well, no.
I mean, well, what? Okay, now let me ask you. You're walking down the street and a garbage truck passes you. How do you know what it is?
You can hear it. You can hear the clanking
You hear
or
it.
whatever.
Well, for one, it's my job to voice the concerns of the listeners.
I
right?
understand.
So I need you to
but that's
articulate it.
what I'm trying to do is point out the ignorance involved in everybody except for the blind. I can hear the engine. I can smell, and also because it put about a foot long by 3 inch wide gash in my back.
Jeez.
Then pretty much could tell. Not only that, I confronted it. A blind man confronted a garbage truck. I stood behind it, stopped the man, advised him, hey, do you know what this is? And held my white cane up that I carry. And he said, F you, and drove away.
Wow.
And the police know this, and the police even said to me, oh, we've talked to the driver. He didn't think he hit you, and you're blind, so we're going to have to go with that. And I said, but he admitted to leaving the scene.
Right. Well, I mean, if you've got a big gash in your back and the guy...
Somebody ran me over.
Yeah.
This is just shocking to me. Have you contacted any attorneys, any injury attorneys?
Now, remember, I said I'm blind. That means I'm disabled. The disabled in America can't afford attorneys.
Oh, no. Hold on. There are injury attorneys who will take cases on a contingency basis where if you talk to enough of them...
Let me throw a couple names out there. Lerner and Rowe told me no because it's too complex.
Okay.
Goldberg and Osborne said no because they couldn't figure out an angle to get enough money. See what I'm saying here?
I see.
So meanwhile,
you'd think hitting a blind, a garbage truck hitting a blind man would be an angle enough to get money.
You would think. Yeah. And not only that, I have tape recordings of the police threatening, berating me. If I pursue, this is the kicker. I was you're ignorant. You can't because I can't see. I can't report a crime, which is bull. Because
yeah, for sure.
I can identify a person with my sound waves. But anyway,
Have you contacted the ACLU?
Oh yeah, that's only class action. They don't take single cases. I've been on the phone with everybody. You cannot tell me a person I can
the
call.
ACLU does take single cases.
The NHCLU certainly takes single cases.
Well, that's another one. But I contacted the Attorney General and spoke, and I got told we do not take cases against the counties.
Yeah, it's probably just too dangerous for them.
So the government runs the garbage?
Too dangerous for this. Check this out. Sergeant Lindquist, or Nyquist of the Mojave County Sheriff's Department, told me, a blind man, as I tried to inform him of the federal and state statutes concerning the white cane law. Well, he goes into this tirade, threatening me and telling me that it would be nothing but big trouble, and I would get cited and possibly arrested every time I was on the street because I was blind.
That's nuts.
That's insane. And you've got that audio? You recorded all that?
Yeah, I've got that. I've got
that
audio of him calling me up and calling I'm a goddamn liar and everything else.
Put that audio out there. Put it up on YouTube. And
well, I put audio. Check that. See, now I'm being military. I've been in, so I believe in the chain of command structure. I've gone the whole way up the line.
Yeah, you've
everybody today. I did a blanket. What I want to say is, I did a blanket email. Everybody got recordings. Everybody got everything. But because they told me there's no cane, they've destroyed my life. A blind man without confidence in his cane can't even move out of a chair. All I can do, I can remember how to wipe my ass. But what I'm going to do Saturday or Friday is, this blind man ain't got one. I'm taking off from my house. I'm walking without my cane down to the county court or whatever I got to do, and I'm going to hand these police the actual Arizona statute because nobody else is going to do anything about it.
Unfortunately, you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. But I would still contact the Arizona version of the ACLU.
That's real good. That's real good when you talk about it. When the real discrimination comes down and the real hate stuff, telling a blind man to stay in the house, that's a hate crime.
Thank you, Ken, and good luck. Please let us know how this develops, and thank you for the call tonight. I would call the Arizona ACLU. At the very least, let them know you've got this audio. Give them the links where they can listen to the audio.
I'd start calling up local media.
Yeah,
call up
that's a good
the
idea.
local TV stations that do this. We're on your side, sort of thing.
Then all of a sudden, the attorneys will start knocking on your door. if that happens. Good idea, Darryl. A toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Although it sounds like the government's running the garbage there, so sometimes it can be hard to find media that wants to take on the state. But doesn't hurt to call and doesn't hurt to ask. I can understand how you might feel a little dissuaded after being rebuffed this many times.
Treated terribly.
Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers, and some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to AgoristHosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST, hosting.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. Coincap.io. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up. Standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you may dial toll free to join us here. We've actually got full phone lines on a Wednesday night. It's always nice when that happens. In fact, it hardly ever happens. So if you're on the line, do be patient. We will get you on the air here. That's what we do. We take your calls about absolutely whatever happens to be on your mind, hence the name Free Talk Live. With you tonight, it's Ian,
Mark,
and Darryl.
By the way, I want to let you know about our audio on-demand listen line. It's available to you 24 hours a day. You can listen to the latest episode of Free Talk Live, as well as a bunch of other shows from LRN.FM. Just call up 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. And you can listen to the LRN.FM live stream there as well. It works on any phone, so you don't need to have a smartphone for this. But if you do have a smartphone, this is a way for you to listen to our show and LRN.FM without having to expend your data. You're just expending minutes in this case. And since most phone plans have unlimited long distance, this really isn't going to cost you anything at all. So call up 641-793-9660. Punch that into your phone's memory so you can always recall it anytime you want. And you can also use that to leave a message for us. If you're not able to listen and call the show live, you can still share your thoughts with us via that phone number. So as you're listening to us, you can hit 0, and that'll take you to a voicemail prompt. You leave your message, and we might just play it on the air. So again, that number 641-793-9660 for the LRN.FM and Free Talk Live audio on demand listen line. As we go back to your phone calls and thoughts, we'll talk to Colin in Texas. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Colin.
I'm sorry. I think it's Taylor. It's definitely Taylor.
Yeah, okay. Well, they definitely did not spell that even close to correct. Go ahead, Taylor. Welcome to Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. So I've been listening to you a ton. I have a data entry job that I'm doing between career changes, and so y'all have been nonstop on my phone lately.
Cool.
But I just wanted to get your thoughts, not to go through like how I'm related, but I have a family member whose wife was 37 weeks pregnant when she got hit by a drunk driver, and her and the baby both died on impact.
Oh, man.
And so this happened a little over a year ago, and the guy who did it is just now being like charged or whatever. But her husband is obviously, very distraught.
Yeah,
and
right.
I guess it happened in Pennsylvania. And so I guess the way the law is there, unborn children are not considered a person. And so he's trying to get together a petition to change the law to where he can get justice for his unborn daughter.
Yeah,
and
this
so
is one of those real difficult situations from a legal standpoint, because most people have sympathy for this guy and the loss of his unborn daughter, but the ones that are, say, pro-choice are put in a conundrum where it's like the baby isn't a child until it no longer living in your house or whatever it is that their claim is, right?
Yeah. I mean, she was only like 10 days away from her due date, so I kind of side with him on that.
Yeah.
But all of that aside, I'm sort of new, I guess, to the ideas of liberty and sort of wrapping my mind around the fact that laws don't generally make things better. And
True.
So him going through the legal process of trying to change a law and make it more, I guess, strict, I'm just sort of going back and forth because obviously I know him and I'm on his side, but then this, in an intellectual way, I'm sort of trying to go back around, like see how it all makes sense or try to, I guess, figure out how it works together in my mind. So I really just wanted you guys' thoughts on that because I think y'all are more familiar with these ideas than I am, and y'all have some interesting thoughts from what I've listened to lately. So.
Well, I'm the pro-choice guy on this show, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure about you, Darryl, but I think you might be.
I kind of figured
legally, I am. Morally, I'm not.
It seems to me that it's very, very rare that somebody would get into a car accident and the fetus would die, but the mother would stay alive. That seems pretty rare. It would seem like usually the mother is going to die, which is going to result in the fetus dying. Was it something, without, I
would say it's more common at an early gestation that such a thing could cause a miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a story, luckily, in Mississippi, they dismissed the murder charge, but there was a teenage girl that had a miscarriage, and she was initially charged with murder because her unborn baby died.
Yes. Now, what caused the miscarriage?
Was it this a drug in Mississippi? I think it was the drug case. So she was like some kind of unfortunate drug user.
Yeah, and I think it was something of she did not know she was pregnant until she had the miscarriage.
I think it's worth pointing out here that, in the case of unborn children or fetuses or whatever term one wishes to use, that it's about when people think life begins,
which they think all kinds of different things.
And right, I mean, like there's literally people out there that believe that mothers should be able to kill their children because their children are dependent on them. That is a right. So there are people who believe that mothers should be able to kill dependent young children, all the way down to people who believe that, like I do, that once there's a zygote, once the egg splits into two cells, then you're dealing with a human life.
Even if it has not implanted yet?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's a human life.
Because there's a huge number, and we don't actually have statistics on this because, it's not something that you can actually calculate. But there are a lot of times where the egg will actually be fertilized, but it does not implant.
That's interesting. I think that you're talking about Plan B, and I think that there'd be a very interesting argument.
I'm not even talking about Plan B.
Well, that's what Plan B does. Plan B prevents the egg from implanting. Now,
sometimes that happens naturally as well.
Murder is only when a human being steps in the way. Lions don't murder people; they eat them, Darryl. So the Plan B would only come into play. It would only come into play if you took a medication that would prevent an egg from implanting. So I'd say that probably the medication, if it prevents implantation, then maybe it doesn't count because it's the mother's body. Whatever.
Now, are we talking about a murder, or are we talking about a car accident that resulted in somebody dying? Taylor.
Well.
So yeah, he was drunk and he ran into her vehicle and they both died. So.
Sounds to me like vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't necessarily say that there was intended malice.
Right. He didn't hit the car with the intention of, I'm going to kill this woman and her baby. Right?
Well, he got the charge for killing the woman, though. And the dad is upset because he feels that his young unborn daughter was unacknowledged, right, as a human being. And that's what we're talking about here, is when does a fetus become a human? And that's what this all comes down to. And so I don't think a law can properly address this situation. I'm with Darryl on this. I'm not pro-choice. I am, however, of the opinion that they've attempted to outlaw abortion in the past, and it's gone very, very poorly, and we should learn from history. I think it is immoral to end the life of to end any human life. However, that's the situation.
But you'd have to do it on purpose for it to be immoral. If it's an accident, then it's a completely different situation.
Okay, so is killing the unborn child vehicular manslaughter, Ian?
I would say no, because it's connected inherently to the mother, and so when the mother perishes, the child is going to die unless it's able to get to some sort of life-sustaining equipment very, very quickly.
All right, so what if the child died and the mother didn't?
That would be very unusual. I would like to know.
No, I don't know how unusual. It's unusual for people to get hit by cars and die. So, I mean, it's not terribly unusual for a seatbelt or whatever to cause, these things happen. Miscarriages occur.
Well, I guess even more than where life begins and where it doesn't. I know everybody has an opinion and then some. More my question was, I know that the law won't necessarily bring justice. I am grasping that just through, kind of coming around to libertarianism. But how could justice be, I guess, what would make it right? If not the law, then what,
Yeah, so what makes up for the loss of an unborn child? I'd say very, very little. So one of the difficulties in libertarian thought is trying to quantify what is human life. If somebody murders me, my wife's going to say, well, I'm out an income. I'm out the guy I love. My son's out a father. My son's going to say, I'm out an income. I'm out a father. This whole thing. And trying to quantify that's very difficult. It's one thing if somebody burns down a house because you can quantify that. It's one thing if they steal stuff, you can quantify that. Murder?
And also, we're not talking about murder here. Hold on.
Manslaughter. Somebody died.
Well, it's a different story. Murder is usually an intentional thing.
There's still
hold on, Taylor.
an issue
we're
of
gonna
compensation.
Bring back Taylor here in moments at Free Talk Live.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-945-9289. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-945-9289. That's 1-800-945-9289.
Will the government protect your family from Iran and North Korea's newest weapon, EMP? We buy guns to protect ourselves, home, health, and car insurance for accidents. Maybe you also have food storage. But how would you keep your refrigerator running in a long-term EMP blackout? Using tested military designs, the Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator protects and powers your critical appliances for years without burying items underground or wrapping them in aluminum foil. Unlike other preps, Solarc is used every day to help offset your electric bill automatically. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to learn how easily expandable the system is. Solarc is the most affordable and powerful solution on the market. The whole system even fits in the back of a pickup or SUV and can install in less than an hour. See for yourself why Solarc beats other off-grid systems at PortableSolarLLC.com. Don't wait for the government. Go to PortableSolarLLC.com to learn why Solarc is energy insurance for your family.
Police in Lehman, Michigan describe a local student's recently foiled plans to commit a deadly school shooting as, quote, embarrassingly bad. Authorities apprehended 17-year-old Trent Bayer Thursday after finding him in an empty hallway struggling to load a pathetically small caliber pistol while simultaneously attempting to unfold an inaccurate map of the school. Lehman Police Chief Ethan Holman elaborated several ways Bayer's strategy could have been more effective, including setting off a homemade explosive in the teacher's lounge, executing popular students first, and at the very least purchasing some military fatigues.
You're not going to intimidate anyone by wearing a tucked-in button-down shirt and pleated trousers.
In other news, a jar of change on a dresser is sadly factoring into a number of financial decisions. A teen zebra doesn't give a shit how much you honk, it's not getting out of the road. And Dad's new 20-year-old Thai boyfriend really sucks at categories. And don't forget to never ever drink Pepsi-Cola, whose dipshit marketing team backed out of a full-page ad buy at the last minute. For more news, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers, not a mega corporation. As a driver with Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for or ride with Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and has been making headlines for disrupting the ride-sharing industry. Sign up now at arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want by dialing toll-free here. The number's 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got Skype at Skype username LRN.FM. By the way, if you want to help support Free Talk Live, you can do that by becoming a Free Talk Live amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com. You can go to amp.freetalklive.com, sign up with any major credit card through PayPal. Someone was asking me the other day if we take American Express, not directly on our site, but via PayPal, you can use American Express. And then there's also Bitcoin, which allows you to contribute to the show anonymously. Should you wish to not have your name on any records, then just use a fake email address or something like that, or one of those throwaway email addresses. You can sign up with your account with that, and then you can use Bitcoin and send it to us from anywhere, and we won't have any idea who you are. So that's one way you can get behind the show without revealing your identity. Of course, if you're going to use credit card, PayPal, but we got to know who you are. Go to amp.freetalklive.com, amp.freetalklive.com. You'll get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast, and the AMP-only Facebook group. Now, we've got Taylor on the line in Texas. I want to bring her back on here in a moment. She's brought up a really tough issue, and she's saying she's just coming into the ideas of libertarianism. And generally, the libertarian position on abortion is the government shouldn't fund abortion, nor should it prohibit abortions. Basically, the government should get out of any kind of regulation for or against it.
But libertarians disagree as to when life begins.
Right. And but the question here isn't really so much about abortion. It's about somebody who is in a car wreck, and a drunk guy runs into a car. Car had a soon-to-be mother in it. She was about a week or so away from delivering a child, and both the mother and the fetus perished in the accident. Go ahead, Darryl.
So I actually have what the penalty is in Pennsylvania for homicide by vehicle while driving under the influence.
Okay.
It's a second-degree felony, carries a maximum sentence of 10 years and a fine of $25,000.
So, one of the tough parts about this here is you got the husband of this wife who's now dead. He wants justice. And unfortunately, no matter how much time this drunk guy spends in a prison cell, you're never going to get the wife and the child back. So, increasing the amount of time in prison isn't going to make anybody's life better. And we find that punitive sentences in jail don't really do that much to dissuade people from committing crimes. Of course, this guy didn't go out drinking that night with the intention of, I'm going to kill someone tonight because I'm so drunk. That wasn't his intention. It was, obviously it was an accident.
That's not an accident. When you get into a car after you've been drinking and you're an adult in the United States, you've been educated that this is a dangerous act.
I get
so
you, but that wasn't his intention.
I can go to a house and I can shoot holes in the house, and that's different than attempting, that's similar to shooting at a person.
He could have just as easily gotten home without any kind of, without a scratch on his vehicle. Unfortunately,
Depends
it didn't
on
work
how
out.
drunk he was.
Right. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way for him and for the mother and the fetus.
Now, there is apparently a federal law that is the Protection of Unborn Children, the Unborn Victims of Violence Act, that I don't know if it could apply in this case. I would have to finish reading the full text of, but it does say whoever engages in conduct that violates any of the provisions that includes death or bodily injury to a child who is in utero.
I'm just generally against punitive sanctions. I think that maybe compensation for the victims or the families of the victims
But how
is
do you
the way to go.
compensate for a dead
Some
woman?
sort of money. That's all you can really do.
Yeah, that's
okay?
all you
That's
can really
all
do.
you can really do. Sitting in a prison cell isn't going to make those victims whole, and even the check, any kind of a weekly check, isn't going to make the victims
you could
whole.
hold on. We're to some extent we run a show about this, this fantastic future of liberty. Maybe a person who kills people needs to sit in a cell and work at a job where they can, be forced to work at a job where they can earn money that they then give back to the family. That's another possibility here. You can both be separated from society. That's what the cell does, and you can compensate a victim.
I only want someone to sit in a cell if they're a danger to other humans. Charles Manson or somebody who's
this guy clearly was dangerous to other humans. He killed 2 of them.
Right, but
yeah. So, Ian, would it make a difference to know that he had multiple DUIs in the past? Is that
Yeah, I would say that's an important factor. Yep, I would say that is a factor. Is that true in this case?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3, but definitely a couple. So it's not his first. And I am definitely guessing it's the first time he injured somebody, but he's gotten DUI arrests before.
Yeah, if somebody's a danger to other human beings and they're not repentant for what they've done, then I think there's an argument to keep them separate from society. Of course, their earning potential may be limited if they're inside a jail cell, so maybe their potential for paying back the victims' families may be limited as well. I mean, there's no real good solution here.
I tend to agree with you on that.
There's no real good solution here, and I don't think jacking the guy for you suggested while we were on break, Mark, 20 years for the adult, 10 years for the fetus.
That's why I pulled up what the actual penalty possibility is in Pennsylvania, where it would be maximum of 10 years.
Right, no matter how many victims, right? Because what if there was, two kids in the back, or the sister, or somebody like that? So it would be
10 years for each person that is killed.
Yep. Okay. So I've got a little insight.
Because each person is a different individual that was killed via homicide by vehicle while intoxicated.
So, I had 2 roommates in prison who were in for vehicular homicide because they were drunk, and one of them was in because he as a drunk hit a drunk person. And so now you have a situation where, and then the other drunk person died. I kind of think that's a mitigating circumstance, but he got the full boat, 10 years. The other one, it was just a tragic situation, and he, said he was never going to drink again. I don't know how he's doing. It was many, many years before I got out.
I don't think I mean, personally, I kind of bristle against the idea that essentially what we're talking about here is a roll of the dice. You've got a drunk person getting behind the wheel. Mistake. Bad choice. No doubt about it.
Deadly choice.
So, there's a few things that can happen here. The dude gets home safely. Everything's okay. Nobody knows anything about it except for him, and then maybe he'll hopefully realize what he did and regret it. Or he runs into a tree or a telephone pole. No actual victim. He might hurt himself a little bit, but, damage to the car, maybe some damage to himself, possible trip to the hospital.
Let's not forget the telephone pole.
Well, whatever. Worst case, nobody ends up dead in that case, or he ends up dead. Then also, then the roll of the dice is also how many people are in the car that he ends up hitting. If he hits a car, if he hits a car with a single person in it, then for whatever reason, that's not as serious of an offense as he hits a car full of teenagers or something like that.
Sure, the victim matters, Ian. I mean, like every time you'll say, is there a victim?
That matters?
Let me ask you this. Was this child, or was this man whose unborn child was killed, was he a victim because his unborn child was killed?
Well, of course.
Okay, so this guy is guilty of, at the very least,
I don't think years
a negligent act.
I don't think years in prison is the solution. If what you're saying is
apparently charges for DUI aren't.
Huh?
Apparently charging him with DUI isn't the solution, because that was done multiple times before.
I understand that. That's why I'm saying compensation for the victims is the solution here, rather than years upon years in prison. It doesn't matter to me whether or not as far as the punishment is concerned, if 4 people are in the car who are victims versus one person, it shouldn't result in more time in prison. If anything, it should be more compensation for those different families that have lost a loved one. I just don't believe in punitive sanctions.
Let me give a different sort of analogy. Instead of the guy hitting a car, he drives up on the sidewalk. And instead of running over one person, he runs over 20 people. Yeah. Are you saying that he should only, have one punishment and not 20?
No, I'm saying he should not go to prison forever. I'm saying he should make compensation to the victims.
I say there should be a prison where he can make compensation to a victim. Tell you what, buddy, you're going into this cell with a telephone, and you're going to be a telemarketer until you make $100,000 for every person you killed. Once you've made that, then we'll let you out. And then we're going to test you anytime we feel like it, and we get 1 drop of alcohol in it, you're going back in the cell, and you're going to, until you make another $25,000 for each person you killed doing telemarketing. By then, you ought to be 157, all right? Because telemarketers don't get paid much. And that's how you solve the problem. He both gets a punitive charge, and he has to do reimbursement, because this guy cannot be trusted around alcohol and cars.
Mm-hmm. What do you think,
That would be an actual private prison, not one of these cronyist sort of things that currently exist.
So, yeah, I mean, the true libertarian solution here requires not having government-run prisons and actually having a true marketplace in rehabilitation and solutions for people that do involve real compensation. I bristle at the idea that just locking someone away in a cage is a solution.
It's a tough one. Thanks for the call.
It's not. Great call, Taylor, and feel free to call us with any other tough questions in the future.
Yeah, thank you.
Really
I'm
appreciate
kind of inclined to agree with you that more prison time just ruins more lives. But I think just acknowledging that she was a victim as well as her daughter.
Thanks,
probably...
Taylor. Free
For
Talk
Bitcoin
Live.
to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is $2 lower at $1,310 per ounce. Silver is 8 cents higher at $18.74 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $571 US. Silver is at its lowest price in 2 months, making for a great opportunity to buy more. Give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, August 31st, 2016. Silver is trading at $18.71 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,315 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $579. Antiwar.com reports death tolls in the Saudi invasion of Yemen have been tough to come by, in no small part because much of the country has been a no-go area in the course of the reckless Saudi air campaign. Food shortages, medical shortages, destroyed hospitals, and hasty burials have conspired with mass internal displacement to make tracking casualties all but impossible. But just a week after the UN Human Rights Office reported 3,799 civilians killed over the course of the war, the UN humanitarian coordinator, Jamie McGoldrick, told a news conference he believes the overall death toll is in excess of 10,000. With many areas turned into war zones, there aren't reliable records on casualties, and with millions displaced within the country and some 200,000 having fled abroad, it's often impossible to tell who was killed and who simply fled elsewhere. All these factors are likely to mean that we will never fully know the death toll of this war, but McGoldrick sees ample reason to believe it's on the high end, and with more than half of the population reliant on food aid, which is not always quick in being delivered, there's always a risk that the toll gets precipitously worse. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports as part of his Second Chance initiative, President Barack Obama on Tuesday commuted the prison sentences of more than 100 nonviolent drug offenders, setting a new monthly record. Obama announced the commutations of 111 more individuals, bringing the August total to 325. 35 of those who were granted relief Tuesday have been serving life sentences. The White House said in a statement, "We must remember that these are individuals who have taken steps towards rehabilitation and who have earned their second chance. They are individuals who received unduly harsh sentences under outdated laws for committing largely nonviolent drug crimes. The White House added in a tweet on Tuesday, Congress must act to enact a fairer federal sentencing system. The total number of commutations Obama has granted since taking office is 673, more than the past 10 presidents combined. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. Reuters reports in a landmark ruling for non-traditional families in New York State, the state's highest court on Tuesday held that a person need not have a biological or adoptive relationship with a child to be considered a parent. The decision by the New York Court of Appeals gives such individuals legal standing to seek custody or visitation rights. Judge Sheila Abdus-Salam wrote on behalf of 5 members of a 6-judge panel, the state's earlier definition of parent has become unworkable given today's increasingly varied family relationships. According to the ruling, a person can claim parenthood by presenting clear and convincing evidence that the parties agreed to conceive a child and raise the child together. New York has been a laggard in expanding the definition of parenthood, as a majority of states have already recognized non-biological, non-adoptive parents. The ruling mainly affects unmarried couples with children, as married spouses with children are presumed to have parental rights. Tuesday's ruling arose from 2 cases involving same-sex couples. In one, a woman became pregnant through artificial insemination and, after the relationship deteriorated, cut off her former partner's contact with the child. The partner subsequently sought joint custody and visitation, but was turned down because she was not a biological or adoptive parent. The second case involved an unmarried same-sex couple who had a child before splitting up. The biological mother sought child support from her former partner. The court granted her request, but also allowed a visitation petition by the child's non-biological mother, ruling it would be inconsistent to consider the latter a parent, but only for purposes of paying child support. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
House of Representatives Bill 323, the IHOP should stay open all night so we can get some Pancakes Act. This bill was submitted for immediate review very late last night under the provisions of the National Emergency Legislation Act.
Can we dim the lights? It's really bright.
H.R. 323 would, by federal order, require all IHOP restaurants to, quote, remain open 24 hours effective right this minute, even if some manager has to get out of bed and drive down here to start making some pancakes.
Well, we stand by the bill.
Right. We wrote it, apparently.
This bill would also require the federal government pay to build a tram or monorail or whatever connecting the Black Sheep Pub on North Capitol Street to all IHOP restaurants.
I think
in the
we made
city.
some illustrations.
The bill gives the estimated cost of the tram as probably not even that much. You are wasting my time and the time of this committee.
Excuse me, I gotta go.
What? Congressman, this committee is still in session. You can't...
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, launching into the third hour here. We got time for you. Plenty of it, actually. You can join us toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Skype username is LRN.FM. Tonight in studio, it's Ian,
Mark,
and Darryl.
Right back to your phone calls and thoughts. Then coming up, the country rap star. Well, I don't know if you really want to call him a star. He's an artist, and some wouldn't even really say he's that good of an artist.
He's a musician.
He's a singer. I don't even know if he knows how to play.
Genre called country rap.
Country rap, yeah. And he's got street teams that have hit the streets here in our very own Keene, New Hampshire, and let's just say they're a little pushy with selling the CDs of this particular rap artist, and they may have come already or will be coming to a town near you. We'll tell you about them coming up here in moments. But first, we go to the phones and the fun. We go to Bob in New Jersey. Bob, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Mark, and Darryl. Go ahead. Bob in New Jersey. You are on the air, Bob.
Hi.
Hello. You're on the radio.
So, my family has a big issue, right?
Huh?
We have autism.
You've got autism, huh? Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Somehow I don't think this call's really going to go anywhere.
All right, be funny.
Everybody spam cap in the chat.
I don't even know what meme he's referring to there. Could you figure that one out?
I could not understand the words he said. the final sentence.
I think other people's children suck. So
let's go to Dave in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dave.
Hey guys.
Hey there.
Well, I continue to be surprised by something, and there's more and more evidence to indicate that it's real, despite seeming impossible, and that is the lack of opposition to the idea of New Hampshire independence, or at least to the URL that I took out to a busy intersection.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up, because I was actually thinking about bringing it up earlier, but I didn't in the conversation we had about protesting, because, Darryl, you pointed out that almost every time you go out and you protest something, no matter what the issue is, there's somebody's going to yell at you, somebody's going to be rude. But Dave Ridley here has said that when he's been out doing NH Exit events, where he's holding a sign promoting nhexit.com, promoting the idea of New Hampshire leaving the United States, that you've been getting overall positive responses.
Well, this is the election season where we have, for the major parties, the two worst candidates in U.S. history. So I'm thinking some people really would like to just get away.
Go ahead, Dave.
It's not overly positive. It's only positive. There is no. I've never seen any sort of opposition to it. I think you saw some at one that you did, but
right. The Stop Free Keeners will oppose anything we do.
Yeah,
you could go out with a thing saying, save the Earth, and they would find some reason. No, destroy the Earth, move to Mars.
Yeah.
I was getting a honk a minute. I counted it. I was there for about an hour, and I guess about 2,400 people saw the thing. I estimated. And it was just like this universally positive experience. I didn't expect it at such a busy intersection. I thought there would be someone who would have some kind of problem with it, right?
Nothing. Well,
so
I think it's the election season.
All it said was nhexit.com. It was really big letters, and it had a Gadsden flag. And maybe they were honking at the Gadsden flag in some cases. Folks seemed to understand what was going on. There was a lot of waves and fist out the air, out of the doors of windows, or out the windows of cars, and whoops, and people stopping and talking, even though it's a very difficult place to stop. So I hope more people will do this. Just take a busy intersection and promote this idea, because this is the root striking solution.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it strikes the root, but at the very least, it's getting the word out to some people, and I think it's important to promote the idea of NH Exit, and similarly for anyone else listening out there to promote secession where you live.
Yeah, your state's got a two-letter abbreviation, so whatever it is, FL Exit, RI Exit, I don't care.
It would strike the root, because if you could get one state out of the union, the rest would follow. There wouldn't be much of a union left at the end of it.
Oh, I agree. The overall idea of a successful secession is certainly very, very root-striking, but I don't know if standing on the side of the road is a particularly root-striking activity. I'm in favor of it, and I absolutely we'll go out into the streets again, and we'll do it again out here in Keene for sure. It has yet to be scheduled, so maybe I just need to do that. But more people need to get involved, and like you said, you can do it even if you're alone, but it is more fun to have more than one person.
You know what would really have made this a great protest, Dave, is if you wore a Wookiee outfit.
Well, I did that for Ron Paul. Yeah, I carry Ron Paul signs with a Wookiee costume, and it was a heck of a Wookiee costume.
Do you still have it? Do you still have that costume?
No, I got rid of it about 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was a great costume. Why would you get rid of it? I mean, it seemed like everybody loved it.
Oh, it was because it took up space.
I see. That's right. And you are a man who lives very simply, and I have a great appreciation for a simple lifestyle. So we've actually got a bunch of.
It went to a good cause. My brother-in-law got it, and he and his son my nephew have had a lot of fun with it.
Excellent. Yeah, if you can add a costume to a protest, I think it makes it more interesting for people. There was one time when I held before NH Exit. We've had other secession-related outreaches here, and I remember going out. I forget when it was. I don't know if it was on the 4th of July or something like that. But standing out in Central Square here in Keene, New Hampshire, I had a V mask on and was holding the "Feds Out of NH" sign that I have, and got a lot of positive response. I even had people taking pictures of me, and I think they took the pictures because of the V mask. I don't think it would have been as entertaining of a protest for people without the V mask. That just kind of upped the level of specialness or fun that was sort of brought to people. So I think having a mask or a costume can help, but obviously then you can't make eye contact with people as easily. So there's some downsides to it. So again, trying different things is always a good idea.
I would appreciate ideas for what kind of costumes we could come up with that might be good. I didn't think a Wookiee would be very useful for something like this anyway.
Pokemon seems to be really popular right now, so go dressed up as a Pikachu.
That's a good idea. Well, of course, you also, by being in costume, you take away from whoever the individual is, and it just becomes the idea. Sort of like in V for Vendetta, V talks about that, that it's not about him as the man, it's about him representing the ideas that he represents.
And ideas are bulletproof.
Indeed. Dave, thanks for the update tonight, man. What's the next step here? I mean, besides going out and hitting the streets, is there any chance that we've got any legislators with the balls to put forward some sort of actual secession bill or legislation this fall?
If you go to nhexit.com, you'll find a discussion group where we put up a poll, the Facebook discussion group. And the leading idea right now, we had several different ideas. The one that's most popular right now is to have someone resubmit HCR 6 from 2009, which would basically outline the conditions under which New Hampshire would leave the Union.
What happened with that back in 2009?
It came close.
In 2009, it did fairly well, despite the fact that it was a Democrat Congress and a Democrat president. So they saw it as a threat to Obama, but it still came within about maybe it's out of about 250 votes against it and about 150 votes for it, if I recall.
So in New Hampshire, the HCR, this House Concurrent Resolution, would have to pass the state house, then go onto the ballot for a vote by the people. Correct?
Well, no, that was just a resolution.
A resolution.
The thing that HCR, that was just a House and Senate resolution. But
so basically, you're making the CACR, which is the Constitutional Amendment Concurrent Resolution.
Right. Okay. So why go with the resolution? Why not go with an actual constitutional amendment?
Well, I favor that. I think it would be better to have a constitutional amendment that just removed the 6
Only problem is you've got to find a state representative with the huevos to actually put it forward, and most of them will complain that they don't have the political capital and the other things are more important. So hopefully we can get some actual secessionists elected here pretty soon in New Hampshire. Dave, thanks for the update from nhexit.com. This is Free Talk Live. More coming up.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Ely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
Will the government protect your family from Iran and North Korea's newest weapon, EMP? We buy guns to protect ourselves, home, health, and car insurance for accidents. Maybe you also have food storage. But how would you keep your refrigerator running in a long-term EMP blackout? Using tested military designs, the Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator protects and powers your critical appliances for years without burying items underground or wrapping them in aluminum foil. Unlike other preps, Solarc is used every day to help offset your electric bill automatically. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to learn how easily expandable the system is. Solarc is the most affordable and powerful solution on the market. The whole system even fits in the back of a pickup or SUV and can install in less than an hour. See for yourself why Solarc beats other off-grid systems at PortableSolarLLC.com. Don't wait for the government. Go to PortableSolarLLC.com to learn why Solarc is energy insurance for your family.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadavi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, Ian here.
And Mark.
And Darryl.
We've got Skype. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. We've had a load of phone calls tonight, but nobody on Skype. You'll sound better if you're on Skype. Last night it was the reverse. We had a bunch of Skype calls, but no one on the phones. You just never know how these things are going to shake out.
Man.
So, yeah, you can take control of the airwaves here. Still to come, well, anything you want to discuss. But this country rap artist showed up in Keene today. Actually, he didn't show up. His street team showed up in Keene and proceeded to get kicked out by the Keene Police Department. We'll tell you more about that because they may very well be showing up in a town near you. They've been touring all over the place.
So is this one of those sort of scammy-sounding job things that you see in the classified? 18 to 24 want to travel the country and make lots of money?
That's right. It's one of those van team jobs, which we've covered every now and then here. Every couple of years we'll talk about the van teams. Sometimes they're selling magazine subscriptions. Sometimes they're selling who knows what. In this case, they're selling CDs of this country rap artist, Michael Knight. But first, I'll tell you one thing Michael Knight's not going to be accepting. That's cryptocurrency for his CDs because he's, behind the times. But we talk a lot about cryptocurrencies on Free Talk Live, and Monero has been around for almost 2 years. There's a lot of alternatives to Bitcoin out there. One of the things that makes Monero special is it wasn't actually based on Bitcoin's code. This is the cryptocurrency that Bitcoin should have been from the beginning. It's the only currency built from scratch to focus on privacy and anonymity. Now, Monero claims to be completely anonymous. I can't say I know for sure because I don't have the programming chops to be able to go in and audit it, but it's open source, so if you do, you can absolutely go in there and look at the code, and you can better believe a bunch of programmers have done so. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been accepted by Alphabay and Oasis, which are two of the largest underground darknet marketplaces on the earth right now. Once Alphabay and Oasis started to accept Monero, which was just within the last couple of weeks, it quadrupled in value.
I thought they were going to start accepting it like September 1st.
Oh, I apologize. I thought that it says here it was implemented by them. So
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't been on Alphabay or Oasis to verify that.
You hear that, FBI?
Unlike Dash, Monero does not use master nodes that can be controlled or hijacked by governments. Monero is fungible, and unlike Bitcoin, it cannot be blacklisted by exchanges. It, again, has quadrupled in value. And this Sunday, we're going to interview Riccardo Spagni, the head developer for Monero. So get your questions ready and start doing your research at getmonero.com. That's getmonero.com. And as we learn more about it, we'll definitely inform you. I'm still in the experimenting phase here. I've been trying to work with their official wallet. There's different ways to receive Monero. Mark, you decided to go the easy route of opening up an exchange account and getting it through an exchange.
Yep.
I'm trying to work with the not-so-graphical user interface version of Monero.
Well, the next step is a GUI wallet. So.
I hope that step comes soon because it would be a lot easier to recommend if that were in place. Because web wallets come with risk. There is a web wallet that you can use.
This is early on.
Yes,
you know?
right. And if you're an early adopter, risk is involved, right? So keep that in mind if you're investing. You definitely don't want to invest money you can't afford to lose. So go to getmonero.com to learn more. As we go to Sarah in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. You like country music, Sarah?
I wonder if Sarah wants to get a job working for Michael Knight on his van team.
He doesn't have any women working for him, so it'd be a little awkward to be in a van full of country boys. But go ahead, Sarah. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, something I'm really more excited about the Japan. They actually got a real self-driving cars, taxis now.
Really?
And these are not just testing. I mean, they're full-on real taxis. So
now you're somebody who's called to express concern about cars in general. Are you saying you would prefer to have self-driving cars on the road rather than cars driven by human beings?
Well, of course.
Why is that?
I mean, it's obvious. I mean, compare, the human error compared to the computer glitches. I mean, I think that for every one computer problems that we might have like 1,000 human errors.
Well, here's my issue with the self-driving car. It's not necessarily the computer glitch. It's the way the computers are programmed.
By humans.
By humans. Have you heard of something called the trolley problem?
No, I never. What does that mean?
Okay, so the trolley problem is this philosophical exercise of for some reason, and I don't know why, and this is where I always go, is why am I the one that's standing next to the switch of the trolley? But just imagine for a moment that for some reason you find yourself standing next to the switch of a trolley. There's one person stuck on the track that the trolley is heading down. You can hit the switch, the trolley will change tracks, but then there's 5 people that are stuck on the other set of tracks.
No, the 5 people are on.
You do?
The 5 people are on the track that if you don't do anything, so
I've heard it explained both ways. It doesn't really matter.
It's really important. No, this is really important because if you do
comes
nothing,
down to do you kill one person or 5?
Well, no,
but
because
you can do nothing.
What's really important is if you do nothing, that one person dies. If you do something, that 5 people die. In your scenario, in this case, if you do something, you save 4 lives. So it's important that the 5 people are in the off track,
right?
And the one person's on the on track.
Usually, it's presented as the trolley or train. Typically, a train is going to crush and kill a bunch of people, and if you throw the switch, then it only kills one. So the question is, do you throw the switch?
So by throwing the switch, you take an action as opposed to not taking an action, and you then become culpable for Well, at the very least, manslaughter, right? You're responsible for the death of, but in the process of being responsible for the death, you save five people.
So why did you bring that up to Sarah, though?
Because that's something that the programmers of these cars have to program into the self-driving cars.
Right. So if the car
if there's a pedestrian standing in front of you, do you automatically veer to the left if there's no car on the left? Well, what if there's a giant brick wall on the left? You're saving a pedestrian, but you're possibly killing everybody in the car. And that's a huge problem.
That is. That's a good point.
Because some of these self-driving cars, there is no will that the person that's operating the vehicle
eventually
could then take over control of.
Especially in a cab.
Things the way it is now, they only killed like 4,800 people last year.
Who only killed 4,800 people?
I didn't kill anybody last year.
Wait, who only killed 4,800 people?
Cars did not kill
4,800 people got killed in automobile accidents in the United States.
That seems really low.
That's incredibly low.
I don't think that's a true statement. We're gonna have to check that. You think that's high, Mark? 4,800 deaths?
48,000, she said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think
she said 4,800.
Yeah, she said 4,800. She just said
4,800. Yes. So there's about 30,000 automobile accidents.
Hold on. What'd you say, Sarah?
4,800 automobile fatalities. We're not talking about injuries in the United States. You guys are just thinking about whether you're going to hit a wall or a pedestrian.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you, Sarah. The fact is that for every one mistake that a car makes, the humans are going to make 1,000. Darryl's talking about a philosophical conundrum. That's fine, but the fact is you're going to save millions of people.
Thanks for the call, Sarah. Only 4,800? You think that's legit?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. Sarah's almost always wrong on her statistics. We'll look it up. It's Free Talk Live.
Attention CPAP users. Stop the insanity and torture of your CPAP mask. Don't you hate the skin irritation and terrible leaks? Jump on the CPAP Pro train, invented by an actual CPAP user that became so frustrated with CPAP masks. Are you ready to try something new? With absolutely no straps or headgear? Go to nomask.com and get the best night's sleep ever. Free to Medicare patients. Go to nomask.com. That's NOMASK.com.
ProPure water filters, making water great again. Taste and feel the difference with state-of-the-art filter technology. Pro 1 G2.0 and Pro Max filters are independent lab-tested to NSF standards. Choose from Gravity, Countertop, Pitcher, Shower, and inline filtration products. There's a ProPure for you. Buy risk-free today. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Don't worry about things you can't control. Isn't that what they always say? But it's about impossible to avoid worrying about what's going on these days. The government has used the war on guns, the war on drugs, and the war on terrorism to tear our Bill of Rights to shreds. But you can fight back. The 10th Amendment Center has proven it, racking up major victories. For example, when the U.S. government claimed authority in the NDAA to have the military kidnap and detain Americans without trial, the nullifiers got a law passed in California, declaring the state's refusal to ever participate in any such thing. Their latest project is offnow.org, nullifying the National Security Agency. They've already gotten model legislation introduced in California, Arizona, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas, meant to limit the power of the NSA to spy on Americans in those states. We'd be fools to wait around for the U.S. Congress or courts to roll back Big Brother. Our best chance is nullification and interposition on the state level. Go to offnow.org, print out that model legislation, and get to work nullifying the NSA. The hero Edward Snowden has risked everything to give us this chance. Let's take it. Offnow.org.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We do have Skype username LRN.FM. And in the studio tonight, you got me, Ian.
And me, Mark.
And Darryl.
So there's this news story that hit here in our very own Keene, New Hampshire today. And I think the write-up by the Keene Sentinel is actually really good. So I'm going to just share that with you here. It's about more of these van teams. And we've talked about the van teams of a variety of sorts over the years here on Free Talk Live. Usually it has to do with like selling magazine subscriptions. I remember one time
knives sometimes. We did some sort of thing on Cutco, I think, one time.
Cutco isn't usually van teams, I don't think. But yes, we did talk about Cutco and some of the people who are less than happy with their experience working for Cutco. That's more of like a direct sales. They focus more on a specific region. The van teams drive all over the place and try to pitch questionable products and services to people. But now apparently there's a van team out there that's trying to pitch CDs. They're trying to pitch music. They need to sell CDs of this country rap artist named Mikel. What's his name? Mikel Knight. Mikel Knight. Also, want to let you know about LibertyStickers.com. Now, if you want to reach people with the ideas of liberty, you can do it from the back of your car via LibertyStickers.com. You know that people love to read bumper stickers, and you can reach thousands of people with just one bumper sticker. So check out the selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic liberty-oriented messages at LibertyStickers.com. And if for whatever reason they don't have something that suits you, they'll custom make whatever it is you want them to. So if you need bumper stickers done, they can help you. LibertyStickers.com. Story by Xander Landon at the Keene Sentinel. Pedestrians and police.
Wait, before you go on,
yes,
the list of motor vehicle deaths 2014, 32,675. So I was way off.
Sarah was way off by a factor of not quite 10.
Yep.
If you break it down to per deaths per billion miles driven, then it would be in the single thousands.
Gotcha.
Based on the 2014 number, it dropped down to 3,000 something.
She did not make that claim.
Correct.
Yeah, she just claimed it was 4,800 for the whole year.
Might have been for the state of Albuquerque. She's really, very.
The state of Albuquerque?
Excuse me, the state of
You mean the state of confusion?
Yeah.
So anyway, SentinelSource.com reporting pedestrians and police alike were taken by surprise Tuesday, that's yesterday, when men in cowboy hats and boots moseyed through commercial parking lots in Keene trying to sell country rap fusion music.
Country rap fusion.
That's a genre that actually exists.
I believe you.
And if you've never heard of the Georgia Boys,
I haven't.
spelled. It's not spelled how you would spell Georgia. It's spelled Georgia. So it's like Gawga. The Georgia Boys. Just take a listen. It's one of the most interesting things you will ever hear.
So they're a good example of the genre?
I don't know if they're a good example of anything, but they are country rap.
Right. Well, you and I are beyond the age demographic that is going to be delighted by new genres. And so I think to some extent, we got to withhold, right? Like I like my country gold. I like the older country. Before, I don't even like anything that they call the new country, which is now old. I don't like that either.
I'll give you a sample of Michael Knight here in just a moment. But let's set the scene. Let's set the stage for what actually happened here in our very own Keene, New Hampshire. And these guys are rolling around the country, so this could have already happened where you are, or
I've got a story from a couple months ago, actually April of this year. Yep. From Utica, New York.
Right, and I saw a video on YouTube when I was looking up this guy. If you look for Michael Knight, and he spells his first name Mikel. Michael Knight, when I looked for him, there was a young guy, recording in his car, kind of give an 8-minute long, experience of what it was like to actually work for him. He worked for him for 4 days. Anyway, I'll tell you more about him in a moment.
And there's also a Facebook page called Public Awareness of Michael Knight and the Maverick Dirt Road Street Team.
Yep, and that's what we're talking about here. Michael Knight was not in attendance. It was the Maverick Dirt Road Street Team. The men were promoting the music of Michael Knight, a Nashville-based country rap fusion artist whose Maverick Dirt Road Street Team members advertise and sell his music throughout the country. Along the way, they've sparked warnings from local police departments. And when they rolled into Keene, they promptly caught the attention of city police after receiving several complaints that the street team was loitering in parking lots and selling CDs on private property. The Keene Police Department issued a statement on Facebook Tuesday warning residents to avoid the team. Some of the salesmen were in the McDonald's parking lot of Keene at 1 p.m. Tuesday, standing outside of a bus, displaying a picture of a reclining, tattooed cowboy. One of the men, who wore a green sequined cowboy hat, sequined cowboy hat, opened a CD case so that the couple he'd been talking with could inspect it. In their statement, Keene police said Knight's street teams have been spotted in parking lots around the U.S. and that they've been, quote, accused of being aggressive and rude, unquote, when attempting to sell the CDs. In addition to the bus and van in the McDonald's parking lot, the Sentinel also noticed a separate bus and van in the Key Road Plaza around 1 p.m. On Tuesday, Keene police responded to complaints about the street team on 4 separate occasions, according to Lieutenant Shane Maxfield. In the morning, police issued members of the team 2 separate warnings for loitering in the Riverside Plaza parking lot, according to Maxfield. Then later in the day, police responded to a call about the members of the street team selling CDs in the parking lot near the Home Depot, near the Monadnock Marketplace.
They're working the town.
Yep. Police issued 2 of the members outside of Home Depot summonses for solicitation because they were selling objects on private property without a permit, said Maxfield. And, it's bad to go around on other people's land and then sell stuff there without the permission of the private property owners. I fully support what the police are doing in this particular instance.
Yeah, so one of the difficulty here is that one property owner kicks them off, then the next property owner kicks them off. It's like, oh, they haven't told me I couldn't. Well, you kind of knew you couldn't.
Police also responded to a call from an employee at McDonald's and arrived in the parking lot where the street team was selling CDs at around 1:30. Officers told the street team to leave, but didn't issue any summons in that case. Before police showed up at McDonald's, Jack Dupp, the person street team members referred to as their boss, but who self-identified as an artist.
What's his name?
Jack Dupp, D-U-P-P.
And jacked up.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't even see that. Said the only contact his team members had with the police in Keene that day was in relation to a separate incident. Dupp said officers questioned team members about a report of a vehicle that was doing a burnout or excessively speeding in a parking lot. He declined to answer any other questions.
Probably trying to get away from them.
From the Sentinel, because he said he could not get authorization to do so from Knight or his record label, and told other members of the street team not to speak with a reporter. Grayson Carter, age 21, who said he's a musician from Texas and is not a member of the street team, said he met up with a group in New Haven, Connecticut to hitch a ride to Nashville. Carter says he thinks the group is misunderstood.
Hey, they're heading the wrong direction.
He said he admires the street team's work ethic and dedication to expanding Knight's fan base.
So from that standpoint, I've got to say, this is interesting marketing for a performer, a musician. And
he's an outlaw.
I kind of like it. I mean, they got a good van wrap, right? Like their van's wrapped in this.
It's very graphical country look. Sure,
they're on the streets marketing. The fact is, the music industry is falling apart. Likely, this Michael Knight can't get a fair shake from a producer, in his opinion, or whatever.
He has a record label.
Fine. I mean,
I could create a record label.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything's a record label.
So you're saying you respect them going on private property and trying to pitch people without ever actually talking to the private property owner and getting permission? No, that is not a good thing to do. That is not something that libertarians should support.
I respect their moxie. So the difficulty is this whole world.
These guys are nothing more than panhandlers with a product. Basically. I don't like it when I walk into a store and there's a panhandler outside trying to hit me up for cash.
Agreed.
And I know that if I were the manager of that store, I wouldn't want that to be happening. Plus, the Girl Scouts, when they hit you up for cookies, they do it the right way because they go in, they talk to the store owner, and they say, hey, we'd like to set up a table outside of your store and sell some cookies. And the store owner will usually say yes, and if they say no, then they go on to a different store owner.
Yeah, well, if you're talking about the kids selling lemonade on the next to the street, they're on the public right-of-way, so they're essentially panhandlers with a product, right?
Well, that's different. They're on public property. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. No one's accused the street team here of being on public property selling product. This is Free Talk Live. We'll tell you more coming up.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson. Like 60% of you, I'm not impressed by the two-party system. It's a dinosaur. It's outmoded and no longer reflects today's America. Two-party politics doesn't work, and it hasn't worked for anybody but itself in decades. If we the people are wise, we will never again elect another president from within the entrenched, corrupt, co-opted two-party system. The office of president should serve the needs of everyone equally with respect and with fairness. I did it as governor, I'll do it as president. Google me. 60% of you have said you want another choice in 2016, and now you have one in me. We the people have a chance to do something in 2016 that may not come around again in our lifetimes. We have a legitimate chance to elect one of our own to the highest office in the land. Give me your vote one time and see what a difference one election can make.
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
Will the government protect your family from Iran and North Korea's newest weapon, EMP? We buy guns to protect ourselves, home, health, and car insurance for accidents. Maybe you also have food storage. But how would you keep your refrigerator running in a long-term EMP blackout? Using tested military designs, the Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator protects and powers your critical appliances for years without burying items underground or wrapping them in aluminum foil. Unlike other preps, Solarc is used every day to help offset your electric bill automatically. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to learn how easily expandable the system is. Solarc is the most affordable and powerful solution on the market. The whole system even fits in the back of a pickup or SUV and can install in less than an hour. See for yourself why Solarc beats other off-grid systems at PortableSolarLLC.com. Don't wait for the government. Go to PortableSolarLLC.com to learn why Solarc is energy insurance for your family.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Juicy Juice, 100% juice, providing a full serving of fruit in every 4 ounces. Visit us at juicyjuice.com. When it comes to nutrition, kids need both fruits and vegetables every day to stay healthy and grow. For the ideal mix, your kid should have at least 1.5 cups of any veggie or 100% veggie juice, and 1 cup of any fruit or 100% fruit juice a day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Look out for the street teams, youngins, because they're trying to recruit you because the job sucks. And they can't hold on to these guys for very, very long. Because
it's hard for young people to get work.
It's terrible, terrible work. They've been hitting the street team for the Maverick for a guy calling himself Mikel Knight. Has been driving around from state to state, city to city, hitting private parking lots and pitching CDs. The young guy in the YouTube video says they would give him a box of 250 CDs and tell him, you got to sell 50 a day or we're going to leave your ass on the side of the road. You can get yourself home, son.
I can't even imagine moving 50 CDs a day.
Yeah, who the hell wants to buy CDs anymore, period?
That's like a CD every minute. Or every 10 minutes for
they work
for 10 hours.
12-plus hour days.
Yeah, this is nuts.
And stopping at various different parking lots. They've stopped all around Keene yesterday before getting kicked out of town.
Where do they get food? I mean, it does sound like
McDonald's apparently because they were in the McDonald's parking lot.
Well, they're sleeping in the van. I'll tell you that. So they're not. He said he was promised that they'd be staying in nice hotels when they weren't on the road, but they're on the road all the time, so they're constantly sleeping in the backs of the vans.
Well, if you can sell enough CDs, you can afford your own hotel room, kid.
There you go. Knight's website boasts his music has gone viral on the internet. One of his most popular songs, Saddle Up Shawty, has more than 500,000 views on YouTube and features scantily clad women dancing around the artist.
That's not viral.
As he raps.
500,000? Man,
for a song, that's not viral.
Well, I don't know what 500,000 views is nothing to sneeze at. It won't make you a whole bunch of money, but here we're going to listen to it.
Saddle Up Shawty. We'll give it it'll be our background track.
It seems like such pandering to me.
Oh, yes, it is. Wait till you see it. So anyway, Knight's record label 1203 Entertainment credits the Maverick Dirt Road Street team for much of the artist's success. In May of 2015, the label took out an ad in Billboard magazine claiming that the team...
Was that a rooster?
Yes.
And y'all already know how we do it down here. Holla, if you feeling like I'm feeling, holla. If you drinking like I'm drinking, holla.
Just sounds awful.
If you see a bad girl,
now, Darryl, you're a country music guy. I mean, you know the country music world. You've listened to country music. Are you familiar at all with the country rap genre?
Somewhat, not a lot. I am aware of that there was the black guy that used to hang out with Big and Rich, Cowboy Troy.
Okay.
He had an album a good while ago called I Play Chicken with a Train.
And lose.
Now, let me tell you, if the girls in this video were the ones on the street team, he'd probably have a whole lot more success, but he'd like to have to pay them a whole lot more as well.
Yeah. Those are definitely very attractive women.
Sure.
So,
okay.
Hold on. A little more here about... Oh,
I gotta say, this
taking off her clothes.
Seems a lot like pandering, is what this seems like.
Yes.
Like just the whole music. I'm not talking about this specific song. I think that the genre sounds like, they're trying to create a song that would be popular within this genre to a particular group. I don't know, the youngest of country people. Not entirely sure. It just, geez.
In May of 2015, the label took out an ad in Billboard magazine claiming the team sold more than 1 million CDs over a period of 2 years. According to a story by Gawker, In Gawker's story, they also noted claims the members of the street team were overworked and underpaid. But Carter, who was the 21-year-old who claims that he was just hitching a ride to Nashville, even though they went up, as you pointed, Mark, to New England rather than Nashville. Carter said that from what he's observed living with the street team on the road for a few days, these allegations just aren't true. He said one of the street team's defining characteristics is members' positive attitude. These guys are here like big man children. They're fun. They have lots of big sunshiny vibes, he said. Michael Staples.
You better sell those CDs, son.
I do not believe, after reading some of the stuff that I've read, I do not believe that everybody is happy to be on these street teams.
No, definitely
that there was a vehicle accident somewhere in June, some little town, either in Oklahoma or Missouri. It's hard to tell just glancing at the article. But the guy driving the vehicle T-boned a Nissan, sent an elderly woman to the hospital. This guy got fired and arrested. He was first arrested for driving without a license and then subsequently fired. The police chief in the town says the guy actually seemed relieved to have lost his job because of the accident.
Michael Staples, 45, of Chesterfield, that's a town to the west of here, spoke with members of the street team outside of McDonald's, said he didn't approve of their conduct in the parking lot. He said it was a lot of puffing up at the chest and a snake oil approach to sales, unquote.
I tend to say one of the difficulties this team would have is this sort of sales is really going to go poorly in New England. It's just the kind of thing that
apparently it doesn't go over very well anywhere, and that's why they keep getting kicked out of places, because they're not doing what they're supposed to, which is to ask permission. Along with approaching
if they sold on the sidewalk, everybody else would have the same problem. You wouldn't. Along with you agree for a different reason.
Along with approaching vehicles that entered the drive-through, members of the street team would call out to women as they passed by.
Hey, shorty, want to buy a CD?
Yep.
What up?
Staples said, if you want to sell CDs, there's better ways to do it than yell at hot chicks.
Apparently, there's not. There are a lot of starving rap artists out there. Michael Knight's not one of them.
No, Michael Knight's probably doing very well. Now, his street team may be starving. After police told the street team to leave McDonald's on Tuesday afternoon, they received no additional complaints.
The difficulty here, I imagine, is these people are getting summonses, right? Like, how long do you stay on this street team if you've got to go back to...
They likely get kicked out. Oh, you got to get up to Keene on your own. We're not taking you up there, son.
Right. That's exactly
they'll leave you in Keene.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out how to get
months I've been trying to get her on this show.
I don't know what that is. Sorry about that.
That's what YouTube automatically going on to something else.
Oh, yeah, that's probably what that was. So now here's from another related story. SavingCountryMusic.com, an article entitled The Sound of Deception. This was written last year. Country rap's Michael Knight and his notorious street teams. Here's an excerpt from a former street team member named Kai Rogers. In July of 2014, Kai posted an extensive account of his year with Michael Knight, the deceptions that street team members were led to believe, the conditions they were forced to work under, and how some members were beaten and abandoned for not making sales quotas, and how working conditions eventually resulted in Rogers being involved in a major motor vehicle accident that had him hospitalized with multiple broken vertebrae and other injuries. Kai, go ahead.
So I have something that whenever you finish this, I got interesting thing about Michael Knight and why he doesn't actually tour.
I was introduced by a couple guys on his street team. They told me about how he needed a new lead guitarist, and they'd been showing him some of my YouTube videos, and his current singer rhythm player had fallen in love with my playing. I remember riding up to Nashville, clothes packed, and not even knowing what to expect. I get there, and he has
know what to expect is they like his guitar playing, right?
He says, I get there, and he's got 5 or 6 fancy tour vans that had his face and name plastered all over him. All of them were sitting on some kind of rims, nicer than most cars. The back of each van read, "The Country Rap King, music from MTV's Buck Wild." And my heart began racing. I knew this was the real deal.
Yeah, we're in it to win it now.
I went around to meet most of our street team, B-Mole, our drummer, and Conrad, the singer-guitarist at the time. We had maybe a total of 15 guys back there. We loaded up the next morning and headed out on tour. But little did I know what I was in for.
Right, on tour. What does this mean?
Rogers went on to explain he never played any shows, and his duty as lead guitar player were to sell CDs with everyone else in the band and the street team. Quote, we'd pull up to random gas stations, businesses. It didn't matter. The driver of each van would tell us to get out, grab CDs, go hit that person. We weren't touring, doing shows, or playing for anybody. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be at all.
Yeah.
Every single day for a month to 2 months straight, we would get up at 6:30 a.m. and we would not stop selling until midnight. We'd meet up at Walmart in a different town every night. Drivers would take their money from the team made that day and take it to Michael Knight, where he would take all the money and put it in a safe. After sweating all day and being completely dead by the time we'd all meet up, I remember asking a couple guys on the street team, "When are we going to get a room? I'm tired, man." And they just laughed and walked off. We slept in the vans without getting a shower and would be woken up by Michael Knight at 6:30 the next morning by him beating on your window and yelling at you to get out.
Well, hold on. He's touring with the van?
Apparently, sometimes yes, probably sometimes no.
He's got a bus, according to some of the photos. Real quick about the tour. Apparently, in June, he played a show in Joplin, Missouri that was only his second official concert in over 3 years. Had a 30 to 40 member street team walking around selling tickets for 4 days. Wound up with 150 people at the concert.
Bummer.
Yeah, I guess you should do a little more research before you join up with something like this, guys. Beware of this Michael Knight character. We've only scratched the surface on him. We'll see you tomorrow.
You can't win if you don't enter, and you actually can improve your chances of winning a prize drawing if you wrinkle up your entry blank. I'm Colin Cook from survivalspeech.com, and I speak from experience. Why this works: if they'll be spinning the drum before drawing, your entry blank will move around more than, and not adhere to, other perfectly flat entry blanks. And if they don't spin the drum and merely reach into a box full of other perfectly flat entry blanks, many of which are sticking together, yours will feel different to the person reaching in. When you win, act surprised. And if you're looking for work, this is a metaphor. For more tips on sticking out in a world where just too much blends into the blah, 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 hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Colin Cook.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateurs, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
Cop Block Radio is up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, August 31st, 2016. Silver is trading at $18.71 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,315 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $579. Antiwar.com reports death tolls in the Saudi invasion of Yemen have been tough to come by, in no small part because much of the country has been a no-go area in the course of the reckless Saudi air campaign. Food shortages, medical shortages, destroyed hospitals, and hasty burials have conspired with mass internal displacement to make tracking casualties all but impossible. But just a week after the UN Human Rights Office reported 3,799 civilians killed over the course of the war, the UN humanitarian coordinator, Jamie Mikel, McGoldrick told a news conference he believes the overall death toll is in excess of 10,000. With many areas turned into war zones, there aren't reliable records on casualties, and with millions displaced within the country and some 200,000 having fled abroad, it's often impossible to tell who was killed and who simply fled elsewhere. All these factors are likely to mean that we will never fully know the death toll of this war, but McGoldrick sees ample reason to believe it's on the high end, and with more than half of the population reliant on food aid, which is not always quick in being delivered, there's always a risk that the toll gets precipitously worse. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports as part of his Second Chance initiative, President Barack Obama on Tuesday commuted the prison sentences of more than 100 nonviolent drug offenders, setting a new monthly record. Obama announced the commutations of 111 more individuals, bringing the August total to 325. 35 of those who were granted relief Tuesday have been serving life sentences. The White House said in a statement, "We must remember that these are individuals who have taken steps towards rehabilitation and who have earned their second chance. They are individuals who received unduly harsh sentences under outdated laws for committing largely nonviolent drug crimes." The White House added in a tweet on Tuesday, Congress must act to enact a fairer federal sentencing system. The total number of commutations Obama has granted since taking office is 673, more than the past 10 presidents combined. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. Reuters reports in a landmark ruling for non-traditional families in New York State, the state's highest court on Tuesday held that a person need not have a biological or adoptive relationship with a child to be considered a parent. The decision by the New York Court of Appeals gives such individuals legal standing to seek custody or visitation rights. Judge Sheila Abdus-Salam wrote on behalf of 5 members of a 6-judge panel, the state's earlier definition of parent has become unworkable given today's increasingly varied family relationships. According to the ruling, a person can claim parenthood by presenting clear and convincing evidence that the parties agreed to conceive a child and raise the child together. New York has been a laggard in expanding the definition of parenthood, as a majority of states have already recognized non-biological, non-adoptive parents. The ruling mainly affects unmarried couples with children, as married spouses with children are presumed to have parental rights. Tuesday's ruling arose from 2 cases involving same-sex couples. In one, a woman became pregnant through artificial insemination and, after the relationship deteriorated, cut off her former partner's contact with the child. The partner subsequently sought joint custody and visitation, but was turned down because she was not a biological or adoptive parent. The second case involved an unmarried same-sex couple who had a child before splitting up. The biological mother sought child support from her former partner. The court granted her request, but also allowed a visitation petition by the child's non-biological mother, ruling it would be inconsistent to consider the latter a parent, but only for purposes of paying child support. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Pennington is reeling this hour from one of the biggest stories we've seen in decades.
That's right, Kathy. Mayor Sue Hallinan has stepped down following revelations of her involvement in a coupon forging scandal. After a week of fervent denials, Mayor Hallinan admitted that last Thursday she used 5 counterfeit coupons on a weekly shopping trip to the Kroger for a savings totaling $14.81.
Once you've made a fake coupon and you've had a taste of that power, it's hard to stop.
How much time does one woman need? Mayor Hallinan also apologized for her first response to the controversy when she blamed Jared the paperboy for stealing her coupons and replacing them with the fakes.
I don't know what to say. She could have ruined my career. I hope she goes to jail forever.
And in what many are saying is the ultimate indignity, Mayor Hallinen's photo has been put up on the Kroger's so-called banishment wall, in between such undesirables as the Fredericks boy and infamous gum thief, Mr. Ivins.
This is the Onion News Network.
We can do a Google Hangout. I'll just walk you through it.
Yeah. Cop Block Radio is filmed live in secret locations across the country. All co-hosts are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. What's up, guys? This is Severin Freeman from Lehigh Valley Cop Block.
This is Matthew Taylor of Garvin County Cop Block.
Andrew Henderson of Minnesota Cop Block.
And we have a special guest host.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. It's Niz from Disassociation Nation.
What's up, Niz?
Not much, man. How you doing?
He asked you a question, then he walks away, so I'm going to go ahead and answer that. Yeah, I think we're doing just great. This week had some crazy cool stuff. I got myself a nice new great bundle of joy that I could be excited about. My microphone.
Yeah.
But also, on top of that, I know we've been talking about it for a couple weeks here, and you know what? Finally, the baby came.
Oh,
yay!
Congratulations.
And it didn't happen before the show. That baby cooperated. It was very...
Yeah. He picked the perfect day. He was like, here, I'm going to go right after the shows. And
but you know what? I can't believe I just used the word cooperated, because I think your wife would hit me if she heard that. That baby was the most stubborn baby on the history of babies.
It's like, here, 4 weeks ahead, why don't I just start acting like I'm going to come every 3 days?
You will that kid will definitely be hearing stories from his mom later in life being yelled at, like, you know how much hell you put me through.
Listen, okay? Just to tell you the kind of way that she holds a grudge, okay? 2 years ago, she bought a pair of shoes, and I accidentally stepped on them right before she could wear them. She still has these shoes. She never wears them, but every so often she goes over to the closet, she picks it up, and she looks at it and goes, and puts it back down. So if I get that over shoes, he's gonna hear about this until the day she dies.
Oh man. So everybody knows who me and Matt are, but we have Andrew on intermittently doing some wonderful things out in Minnesota, and tonight we have a special guest. Our last few guest hosts was named Paul Gordon from Dissociation Nation and several other projects. Well, this is the other half of his show, Dissociation Nation. So it is an awesome show. You want to tell the audience about that show?
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much, we're two abolitionists, and if you don't know what abolitionists are, we would like to see a stateless society. We pretty much go through news, go through events, and give the abolitionist view on it. We both consider ourselves anarchists, voluntarists, and our show is every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on the FPRN radio network. That's the Freedom Phalanx radio network. And we go through, give our spin on the news, have a good time, joke around. And we have some pretty interesting guests on. We had Severin and Matt on beginning of this week. Week before that, we had a conversation with Cal Molinet from Liberate RVA. We also had Danny Roldan on. He's a former OG of We Are Change, and we had a discussion about roads and who would take care of roads in a stateless society.
I have a question for you. Over there on Disassociation Nation now, I might be playing a little inside baseball here, but do you guys use acronyms at all?
Oh, shut up, man. Come on.
Everything in life is an acronym. Right, Severin?
Am I going to ever live down using the wrong word to describe something?
Never.
Man, I thought something was an acronym that wasn't an acronym. And then I later said what an acronym is, but apparently it's the joke of whatever. Go listen to the last episode of Dissociation Nation, hear what they're talking about. It was pretty funny. We had a good laugh out of it. But so anyway, we got Andrew on the line. You're only on for a short time, so I want to get over to what's going on in Minnesota. You had some big things happening in the last few weeks, some big moves being made. Tell us about what's happening.
Definitely. Well, I'm taking a run for city council this year in the city of Little Canada.
Nice. So what does that entail? Like, do you have a clean criminal record?
Yeah, except for a couple minor parking infractions, stuff like that. But
So you're
nothing
not
major.
you're not one of those felon cop blockers that lives in your parents' basement, huh?
Surprisingly not.
I live in my parents' basement. Wait, no, I don't.
So do you
No, I
think
have a house.
do you think the fact that you're openly an activist that films police and exercises your rights is going to help your campaign?
It could help in some ways, and it could hurt in others. I mean, there's bound to be people that are against me that are state worshipers and do everything that the state says without question. Then there's the people that actually believe in liberty and freedom, and I think they'll be more on my side.
Okay, so I got some questions for you here. First of all, what are you running under? Independent, libertarian? What are you running under?
Well, it's a nonpartisan race in the
that's even
small
better.
city of Little Canada. So I'm not claiming any kind of party affiliation, though I am taking endorsements from parties that I agree with. Right now, I have the endorsement from the Legal Marijuana Now party.
Okay.
So that's a good thing, and I'm going for the Libertarian party endorsement as well here soon.
So if I were to ask you to say, take 90 seconds and kind of wrap up what your platform is, could you do that for us?
Sure. Basically, I'm trying to legalize little free libraries. Those little boxes of books that people have in their front yards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to legalize them in Little Canada. Right now, we don't, or the city has banned them for private use. I'm also it's crazy. I'm also big on property rights. I don't think the city council should be able to step in and chastise people for putting in hardwood flooring like they have before. I mean, they have at previous meetings just totally chastised people for doing minor repairs in their home without permits. And that's something I don't think that should be,
absolutely
even I mean, if it's something like a hot water heater or something like, that takes natural gas or high voltage electricity, maybe, but, stupid things like that. No, the city council should have no part in that. I mean, you own your home, you own your property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about what my floors look like? If I want to paint, my floors with a bunch of, pictures of dead kittens, I mean, I wouldn't, but if I wanted to, what do you have to say about that? You
Exactly.
can't.
Yeah.
Not that I would. I love kittens.
All right. Well, Cop Block Radio is the hard-hitting show. We're going to ask some tough questions because we are your friend, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for the people who are against voting and any form of government.
And what, books?
No, voting,
Against
government.
books?
That government in itself is a coercive force, and playing a part of it. Are you doing any damage by trying to play a part in this system?
Sure. That's an